Athletes like Reggie Bush know what it's like to work through adversity to reach a goal. Visit Adidas.com and watch as your favorite Adidas stars tell their amazing stories of achievement. Enter for a chance to win tickets to see Reggie Bush and the Saints live in action, all at Adidas.com.
All right, everybody, the weekend starts right here. This is the One Up Yours podcast for Friday, September the 7th. I'm Garnet Lee. Across from me, Mark McDonald. To my right, Shane Bettenhausen. John is off, I don't know, doing whatever corporate moguls do
Something
now.
Family-oriented, probably.
No, I think it's he's now wheeling and dealing and all that kind of stuff. So we brought in a new special guest for today, Mr. Sam Kennedy.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, look, I say, yesterday I see John coming out of the men's room here, and I'm like, are you just...
No, he's still here.
I'm like, you have
every
nowhere else to
day.
go, dude? Like,
yeah.
you look lonely.
Was he dressed in like the first time he showed up after he had officially left, he was wearing sandals. It was actually for One of Yours. He was wearing shorts, like some kind of tropical shirt and sandals. And I'm like,
Moderately threadbare shorts.
You're just trying to rub this in now. It's
I think
I just kind of roll out of bed at noon.
Yeah, I think
It's
he was
like
wearing
Office Space. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, I expect him to walk in with a fish.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just like, hey, you're just rubbing it in now. Wait, why would he have a fish?
Office Space. He's bringing his fish to clean the...
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, I'm a little slow on the Office Space.
All right,
take.
so there you go, guys. Today, here's what we're doing. We're going to be doing what you've been playing in the first segment. In the second segment, I've got some stuff from the message boards, and then we're going to do a little argument that Shane and I had in the car yesterday on the way back from the EA Studio event, which is talking about like what's it going to take to make a game of the year this year. Has BioShock already wrapped it all up? And we also got into like this crazy argument about whether or not there's ever been a first-person shooter that actually had a story that was worth a shit. So we're going to be all over the place. We'll scatter shot and something will come out of that. And then in the final segment, we've got some news and there's all kinds of interesting stuff there. And you know what? I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. Last week, we talked about the new PSP because it had been in the office.
I wish I had been here.
I know.
I think I said at one point, like, I
Jesus.
kind of like wish that Shane was here because I don't think that this is exactly right
like,
about the
so
battery thing.
Wait, what did you exactly say, and where did it even come
You know what?
from? Like,
I don't remember what I said.
It came
Where
from
I
his-
remember.
I remember it came from his ass.
I remember it was that the new PSP that the battery life isn't as long as the old one.
Which is so.
why?
Okay, so here's where that came
Yeah.
from. What I saw of the PSP was I walked by the art department and they had the thing out because they were just checking it out. And Ryan walked up and he started messing with it and he was telling me about how it was thinner and one of the things they had to do was make the battery.
The battery is smaller.
Like the battery was a big consideration because the prior battery was the reason it had that bulb on one side, and so the other side was just empty to make it match. And he said something about the battery life like not improving even though it was a new model and might not be as, I don't know. Anyway, so that's where that part came from. And I didn't know the other stats. So like the big thing people have been excited about is the TV out, which is obviously cool.
Right.
Faster loading.
Faster loading because there is apparently double the amount of memory on the inside of the thing. That's obviously a big deal. And what else has been
Did you
hot?
say something about the screen or whatever?
There's
Like
The screen's exactly the same, right?
yeah.
Some people are saying that the screen looks slightly better. I haven't really played with it much yet.
so let's take this to a.
And the big part is the D-pad's much better.
D-pad's
Yeah.
much better.
So let's take this to a new area though. Let's make something positive out of this whole experience. So everything that everyone was expecting from the new model of the PSP was, like, from what I had been hearing, was either a hard drive, which
Right.
was the thing that everybody thought it would have, or a second. I mean, some people were more radical, like it's going to be kind of redesigned, kind of a second analog stick. Do you guys think that will happen before like a proper PSP 2.0?
No. I don't think the second analog stick thing is retarded. Like when
Yeah.
Eddie,
Whoa! Why is the second analog stick thing retarded?
No, because
We've
you
been-
can't
we've been
design
through
games
this-
for
yeah.
that.
Oh, you mean on this generation?
Right,
Exactly.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like at E3 at the press conference, Brian was like, "It doesn't have a second analog stick." Wait, are you retarded? Like, of course it doesn't have a second analog stick.
But
you know?
it is weird that it's something that's a redesign. Like, we're not used to something being redesigned, sticking so close, even from Sony, to the original hardware.
Right.
Like, look at the Nintendo
you can hardly-
redesigns are
Are
radical.
you saying
Yeah.
the DS Lite is
Yeah.
a more radical redesign?
No, that the DS.
For the
I
DS to the DS Lite was way more radical
Then
redesign.
PSP to PSP
Yes.
2000?
The PSP Lite, as people are calling it, PSP,
PSP 2000, that's what Sony calls it.
Well, yeah, for sure, of course.
Yeah.
You're saying you don't disagree.
I mean, I think it was a bigger improvement, but that's because the PSP wasn't as bad as the DS.
Oh yeah,
Right,
The
but
first
yeah.
model.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But it's a radical difference. Even like old PlayStation 2, PlayStation 2
Right,
WO,
right.
PlayStation
But
1.
I
But it's so funny because like if you just put it like if someone showed it to you, you would like a lot of people would not even notice.
No,
the
but
difference.
when you pick it up,
like-
it's
like,
so,
I'll tell you, like,
it's
oh,
so much lighter.
Please, I knew you were going to go there, dude. The PSP is not heavy.
But it is.
Yeah, no.
It feels light and
I tell you,
hollow.
like it was funny because at E3, like we interviewed Phil Harrison, and like he had one on the table, and this was like right after they had first announced it and everything, and he was like, hey, so what do you think of it? And I was almost like thinking, I think Shu was the same way. We were almost thinking like, is he like kidding with us? Is that actually the same? Like, is that the old model? He's just fucking with us or whatever? Like, because I actually did
Right.
not have, I hadn't really seen it before up close,
Well,
so I was like,
It's weird because I've been playing a lot of PSP games to review the last 2 weeks. So when I picked that up initially, I was like, "Wow, this is so much lighter." And it really,
Really?
I think it
Yeah.
almost feels a little hollow and cheap in a way.
Right, the PS3
But-
controller. That's one of my. I was almost going to joke like you mean like the PS3 controller when you said hollow because I still when I pick up that PS3 controller, it still
Yeah.
feels like
I'm pretty used to it. Now. I'm pretty used to it now, actually.
Dude,
But-
the
I've gotten
UMD
used to it,
door,
too.
the UMD door on the new one definitely qualifies for the cheap feel
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's not nearly as
I
nice
mean,
as like.
they got rid of the moving parts,
Yeah,
basically.
so-
but
Okay, well let's
Anyway,
go
that's
into,
PSP Lite.
Yeah.
it's in stores now. You can go buy the bundles. The bundles
those-
are a great deal.
What?
for those who thought I had
Thank you, Polygon Man. Or
We're here to inform our listeners, not just like misinform them, Garnet.
Oh yeah. And, no, they were mad at Patrick because they said because Patrick also said you couldn't get it by itself, and you can fully go buy it by
Right.
itself, unbundled, black model, no big deal. Look, no one was trying to bag on the new PSP. If you're buying a PSP, that's great. I mean, it is obviously nicer for the memory, for the better D-pad. No disagreement, right?
yeah.
All right,
Lesson learned: don't rely on one up yours for your new.
dude. I walked by. Look, we're four guys hanging out talking about games. I walked by, I picked the damn thing up. We talked about it some.
That's right.
There
It's
you
like
go.
it's like when you go to EB and the guy tells you, and this is like a real story, that in the memory slot of a Neo Geo will play Game Boy games. You kind of want to take that with a little grain
Dude,
of
it
salt.
fully does.
Moving
Fully does.
forward, I would hope they were a little more authoritative here on
All
the
right, who's been
podcast.
playing some games?
Who hasn't?
Why don't I go first to get these out of the way?
And tell us about the hottest games from 2 weeks ago. Mark.
Yeah, so I've been playing. I've been busy playing
I've been
games,
busy.
but they are games that.
You actually reviewed games for EGM. That's a rarity.
Well, yeah, but I mean, part of the problem is too, Shane. Like you will play. You played like 5 minutes of a game, and you talk about it on One Up Yours, and then it's like, well, fuck, now it's ruined. Now it's ruined for me. So like Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles. we both reviewed
I think we should
that.
talk more about it. I mean, it's getting closer to release now.
Right.
Like, and a lot of stuff has come out.
I didn't know a lot of things about it. I was finding out for the first time, like playing it, because they were pretty quiet. They only kind of showed those first two
Well,
levels.
like what kind of stuff? Like,
I had I played an earlier version. but
Right.
A lot of stuff wasn't finished, and now that I played the final game, I think that the graphics are considerably better. I know you're not a huge fan of all the levels. You think some of them are too sparse.
I
but
think they did it a disservice only showing the first couple levels, because some of the later levels, like the clock tower,
yeah.
it adds a lot to the game for it actually to be in 3D. Like some of the other levels, I would then go to play Symphony of the Night, which is cool. It's got a new translation. But I would play Symphony of the Night and be like, man, this just like it's so much more colorful and it comes alive.
One of
and
the things
stuff.
that made me happy is like there's a lot of like warping and parallax and scrolls, like kind
Right.
of old-fashioned techniques
cool.
that people don't use much anymore. So if you're someone who used to play a lot of Genesis and Super Nintendo games, you'll appreciate like the level of parallax.
See, I was
happening and
like,
stuff
I
here.
didn't know you guys had the build here, but like I was like hoping to see more levels at Leipzig when I was over there, and they actually just had the same stuff from like E3 or whatever. And,
Right.
and I asked Igarashi about that, and he said that they didn't want to show off the later stuff because it's
Right.
more difficult or whatever.
Well, and
and,
another thing is, if Mark and I both played the original PC Engine Rondo of Blood a bunch of times.
I have
and
too.
If you're someone
Yeah.
who's played through it all, you're kind of fucked because a lot of things have changed.
Oh, really?
Which is cool.
Like almost every secret in the game is different now.
Ah.
But that's good.
Which is cool.
That's
Yeah.
good.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Metroid
Zero Mission.
exactly,
Yeah.
where they kind of did it with people in mind. If you've played the game before, there's a kind of winks to you.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And I mean, some of the things are really cool. The 3D version. If you haven't played the 2D version too, that's on there.
Right.
Like I'm excited for Castlevania fans to get to play this kind of.
Yeah, it's like a little love letter.
Wait, so
you
I was
know?
talking
Yeah.
to Jeremy though, and he said the music isn't quite as good. Like it's like remix
they're
or whatever.
remixed,
like-
and it's a varied quality. I think some of the originals are better, but they're on there too. And
Yeah.
there's a thing called Music Arrange, where as
You, like, find
as
items or whatever,
yeah,
and
you
you-
unlock all these bonus tracks,
Yeah.
and you can go and actually assign the music you want on every level.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
which
kind
is-
of cool.
Which is
Cool.
crazy.
It's a cool feature.
Yeah.
If you like this game, you really ought to go read Sam's interview with Igarashi because it's really long and it's
yeah.
I think you've like hung out with him enough times that you guys have gotten casual.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a very casual. More
I
like,
love the guy. I think he's awesome.
He gets a lot of hate, and like
Yeah.
I've interviewed him a ton of times too. I know him, and I think he's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
He's like the PS2 and Xbox games definitely were not what we wanted in every way.
Right.
But what you can tell is like the answers that he gave you aren't those walls of speak.
Right.
They're actual
Right.
just like you guys are having this conversation,
Right.
and I'm saying this and you're saying that, instead of let me get around to giving you my marketing plan.
Right.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, what else you been playing?
And then these are the other games that people have talked to death.
Dude,
BioShock.
have you listened to the show before? You can bring up old stuff. It's okay. John talked about Oblivion for about 1 million months.
Well, I won't go too far into BioShock. I'm enjoying it. I'm like
Are you?
5 hours into it, but I have run into a lot of bugs. Even
You
5 hours
you had
into
a
it.
crash bug, right?
It's crashed on me once. I've had
Really?
a Big Daddy get locked to a wall.
I've heard about that before.
Had guns that I can't pick up. It got patched, I think, Wednesday, so I don't know what that's going to do. But
Did you run into the save bugs stuff too?
no.
Oh, okay.
No,
Simon was telling me about that. That just sounded terrible. Like where he couldn't go any. Like he would every time he tried to resume, it took him back like an hour or whatever,
Whoa.
and then the save file did the same thing and whatever.
Yikes.
Like,
But I'm enjoying the story on that one. That's kind of what's keeping me playing it. Call of Duty 4, I finally started playing the beta on that a lot with David Ellis. I'm into it. I'm digging it.
Are you what the
deathmatch
fuck
one?
owning like you usually do?
No, I'm not. I'm getting my ass kicked.
Really?
Yes, all over the place.
I'm fully playing Call of Duty 4. Just moved up another notch on my list.
It's in a weird. When I played deathmatch, I didn't like it as much because it's in a weird space between. I would keep respawning fast, but you die so fast. I really like it better when it's more like Rainbow Six because you get shot in the head, you're dead. And so it's so quick that I think it's important for you to really move slowly and carefully. And if you're going to respawn, you kind of play more, you play more wild.
Something that might help, Sean Elliott pointed this out to me, is COD has always used a respawn system where when you respawn is dictated by where the majority of the guys on your team are that are still alive.
Right.
So
you can tell that too. But I mean, that leads the respawn thing they've already said is going to be fixed. But you respawn on grenades and like the whole system about bombing runs and the skill sets and stuff like that. I'm not sure on that stuff yet. I think it's a really cool idea. It's all about balance. So I'm just digging the graphics and like the guns and the gameplay and the the sound effects. Everything kind of comes
It's
together.
pretty overwhelming.
It's definitely a big step up from COD 3, right?
It's just like seeing it in 60 frames a second is just like.
Why you bring up COD3? I know you're like trying to throw me a softball or something.
See what you thought of that.
Also playing Dementium the Ward. We had a build in here of that.
That crazy DS
I played that
thing.
at PAX,
DS,
actually.
kind of a survival horror first-person
I think
shooter.
it has really good graphics for DS.
It has the best 3D engine I think I've seen on the DS.
Wait, who makes it?
Gamecock.
They
publish it.
Gamecock is publishing it.
Wow, so it just like kind of came out of nowhere then, or something like?
Yeah, I mean
Wow.
these are guys that have like a development history. I think they came from Acclaim, but their engine is like they should license this fucking engine out big time.
Instead of looking like crappy like N64 PS1 3D, it's like looks like almost like early PS2 3D.
And I only
Whoa.
played,
Almost.
Yeah.
It's interesting, yeah.
I only played the first like couple sections of it. It had one at least cool puzzle in it, but I haven't played enough to comment about the gameplay. It was really just shooting stuff. But like from a technical standpoint, I was amazed. They have these things that crawl on any surface. And it sounds like a stupid thing, but when you see it in actuality, you're so used to things just like in the Doom mold, just coming straight at you on the one plane, that when you see these little worm things coming at you from the different directions and actually crawling, intelligently over the different objects and stuff, it's like, wow, it actually makes you say like, wow, this is the technology here is actually cool.
You're just not used to seeing 3D action games on DS.
Exactly,
right?
much less being like, wow.
They also had you weren't at PAX, but that same publisher Gamecock has another DS game. Oh man, it's with it's like a 3D platformer where you're like this girl who's a bee. Oh, it's called like Insectoids or something. But
paging Matt Leone. Matt Leone.
It also had really good 3D, but the gameplay, I was not quite convinced. But So
Obviously, considering you can't remember the name.
Yeah.
Well, and the one game that that people haven't been talking about the past couple weeks is actually a game I can't really talk about that I played the crap out of, which is
Shane's loving how you're doing this because it's like I've heard this argument before. Oh, let me talk about this game, but I can't.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
But I'm Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Which as a Resident Evil fan, like I will say, people were asking me like, "Wait, why do you?" Because I had to like try to wrangle a Wii debug in order to play it.
You did go. It was over the weekend. It was like 1 a.m.
Yeah, I had to come to the office. Yeah.
You left my house to come to the office at 1 a.m.
Well, but because this is canon, like this game is going to have Resident Evil.
I think there are better ways to spend a Saturday night.
It was Sunday night, and it was a Labor Day weekend. So
I mean, so what else are you gonna do,
But
right?
I was thinking about you. I left you a present on your desk that you can. It's very similar, and you can play that this coming weekend.
Oh,
see that?
What? No,
It was a very similar product.
Ghost fucking Squad.
Ghost Squad. It's the same thing,
You
right?
dick.
Right? No. They both use a Wii Zapper.
and I had Zack and Wiki, but I haven't had a chance to play it. But I'm hearing good things about the Zack and Wiki. I don't know.
Oh boy. You know, actually, I played Resident Evil Chronicles at E3, and I had a good time with it. I liked the
liked
Zapper.
it at
I
E3.
thought the Zapper was cool.
I thought I liked E3 and you hated it, and you made fun of me.
No. I wasn't one of the haters. I didn't get a chance to play it. I played it for like 2 seconds.
All right.
But I didn't. We don't have the big Zapper attachment.
We have a
but
fake Zapper that some third party sent us. We tried that one.
No.
Not so good.
we don't. We have the fucking game, and we don't have the Zapper.
No.
That sucks.
It seems.
Why would they?
It's definitely like fan service. Well, I mean that
'cause we
Zapper
have to-
thing is
yeah,
not.
wait
That's
for-
Nintendo,
yeah.
and this is Capcom. But it's definitely like got shit built into it for fans. Like it's definite big time fan service. Like
oh yeah.
the cutscene
Nice.
stories are told from like a slightly different angle, and you get a lot of Wesker background and that kind of stuff.
It's got you
so-
pretty excited to go see Extinction, right?
Oh God, I cannot wait. Have you seen all the posters around
It's all
San
they're
Francisco?
advertising the fuck out
It's
of that movie.
crazy.
You're not kidding, right?
No,
Dude, I am fully on that, like right away on it. I'm so excited.
I'm kind of kidding about that part.
I'm totally going to see that movie.
I'm not kidding that there are posters
I'm
everywhere.
totally going to see that
I'll
movie.
see it. I've seen me and Crispin. We
It
figured
is
out
the
kind of.
cheesy B movie, crazy bullshit, and of
Yeah.
course it has Mila in it, so I have to go see it for that too.
But the second one didn't have her vagina, unlike the first.
That's
So,
true. This is true.
that's the goofy. That's like the actual fun to go watch goofy bullshit video game movie as opposed to the bad ones.
I enjoyed Resident Evil.
Speaking of vagina, what have you been playing, Shane?
Well, I haven't been playing.
Segue doesn't really mean
Yeah,
anything.
I
just
haven't been playing Prey.
put it together.
But that's what you're talking
Nice.
about. Well, a bunch of us yesterday at EA got our hands on Burnout Paradise, which I know we're very excited about.
yeah, that was great.
And it lived up to my expectations.
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't get a chance to play it much at E3. I just played for a few minutes. So yesterday I played it for like 40 minutes.
Dude, it's a blast.
Did you
isn't it
play
fun?
Did you play the PS3
I
version?
played
or
the PS3 version.
Yeah.
I looked over. You were playing? No,
I was playing
You were playing
360.
360.
Yeah.
I looked over and,
Yeah.
and looked at that. And Alex Ward of the developer Criterion, he's been very vocal that PS3 is lead SKU.
Right.
And I could tell. And like looking over there,
I was trying. I mean,
I could tell.
Well,
but
okay, so where did you tell?
just like the graphics look slightly different. It's weird. I mean,
slightly different, but not so
like,
much
the 360
better.
version
But
doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
But like the textures were kind of different. And
Right, right.
Like if I was looking back and forth, and I was like,
I think you're overlooking the big difference. The big difference is the PS3 is going to have hop-in joinability and
Right,
multiplayer
right.
that
Yeah.
works
Right.
much more easily.
now, see,
than
actually,
360.
unfortunately, I did not get to play that part on the 360 version.
So the way it works is, you're in this city, you're in this big city, and your friends just pop in and you start races, and it's all like user driven.
Yeah.
But I guess on 360 you have to go through the Xbox Live,
Right,
the layers of Xbox
yeah,
Live.
yeah.
Whereas on PS3 the people just like jump in, jump out.
Right.
So that's that trade-off for having that persistent one name everywhere and going through live system.
But it's super fun. The city is like really well designed. There's
Yeah.
tons of shortcuts, tons of jumps. Like the different challenges you create are really fun. It's like trying to do barrel rolls or trying to jump off a specific thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's a blast. I can't wait for that game to come out.
It's gonna be one of those games that I swear it reminds me, and I said this after E3. It reminds me of Midtown Madness, where you just got in with your buddies and hauled ass around the city and fucked off.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like the ultimate game to go in and just fuck around.
It's
in.
much more of a playground,
Yeah.
sandbox thing. That
And it really
ever
works
has
for
been.
it really works for Burnout, especially because like they showed in that demo, where he had the like race to the top of the hill hill and do a certain number of burnouts and then do the barrel rolls off the ramp. That's just
We tried that too. It's so much fun.
yeah. This is cool. It's just this crazy screw around.
I really wish it was coming out this year, and it's instead it's like February-ish or something.
Oh, is it?
Is that the latest update on it?
Yeah,
because I'll tell you the other big thing is this version ran smooth.
Oh, it was.
And so
very
that's
smooth.
At E3 it was still having some frame rate issues. So it was not like this thing.
It was
like,
60 frames a
dude,
second.
it's 60 frames per second, and it's not like 60 frames per second bullshit. It's 60 frames
It's
butter.
real deal.
Yeah, it was definitely real deal.
Very good stuff.
What else?
The Simpsons game. We've actually had that around the office for a while, part of it, and there was a new level yesterday that we could check out. And
Which level?
It's the one that's super happy fun. Homer. Remember the episode where Homer sees himself on a Japanese detergent commercial?
Oh,
so it's kind of based on that, and it's
Mr. Sparkle.
Mr. Sparkle, yeah. So it's a huge parody of all these Japanese games.
Like what?
Oh,
Not the
nice.
least of which is Katamari with Milhouse as the prince,
Oh,
as
right.
the giant
Fucking
prince.
awesome.
Dude, it
Wow,
starts off with a
nice.
giant Milhouse as the prince with the whole outfit, like the color cups on his side of his head, and
That game.
And there's Pokemon style battles.
yep.
Oh,
where,
awesome.
where it's like turn-based, you're using menus to pick stuff off there. And I saw an Okami reference, a Kingdom Hearts reference. There's lots of
Wow.
little references
Wow.
in it.
Nice.
That's so cool.
And all I've played, I think it's a really funny game. It uses the license very well. It's disappointing that it's not 4-player. I think given what it is, it's basically kind of a brawler mixed with
right.
a puzzly platformer. I think it could have.
Dude, in 2-player, so I played it with Brad from GameSpot, and dude, the game is a blast. We sat there for literally like 30 minutes playing that level, and we were having a blast. It was so much fun.
Did you guys see the Grand Theft Scratchy level too?
Yeah, I did check that out.
Yeah.
And this was the first time I'd seen the game.
My other weird complaint though is I think the cutscenes look really good and they're real time and they almost look like super HD 3D Simpsons. They look really good.
absolutely.
But then when you're playing it doesn't look quite as good, and it
doesn't matter.
But
it
definitely
really doesn't matter.
But it treads. It doesn't matter. That's true.
Yeah.
But it does tread a line between not looking that next gen in a way. I mean, and it's on Wii and PS2, and they didn't have those versions there.
No, they didn't.
And they were telling me the Wii version has extra stuff. It has a bunch of extra things. So the Wii version might actually be the version to play.
Cartoon license games getting a lot better. Family Guy was actually a decent game.
That was decent.
And this game, I'm
What?
telling you, from the first time
The source material isn't that good. So
whatever.
Fuck off.
Kiddo, you're so wrong about the Family Guy.
I can see both sides of that
so
argument, so I'm not going to step into that.
But yeah, Simpsons, is it game of the year? No, but is it a really funny Simpsons product? Definitely.
Oh, if you like The Simpsons, you're going to love it. So the big thing that came out to me from playing co-op with Brad was that they actually have this figured out like a really good platformer. There was stuff that I had to do because I was playing Lisa, and there was stuff that he had to do because he was playing Homer.
That's
and we had
a
to play
little less fun when you're playing single player.
Yeah, no, I would imagine it is. So, but it works really well. I like games that work as co-op games. It's fun to play them that way.
This is true. What else was there yesterday? I got to see Crysis, and they've actually very specifically said when we can talk about what we saw, because I got to see 2 new levels that aren't jungle levels.
Right.
And I can talk about
and both of them are. Did you check the embargoes?
Yeah, I can talk about one of them next week, and the other one a week after.
Stay tuned.
So
Oh,
I know you hate it when I tease things, Mark McDonald, but
I don't care.
telling the kids to come back.
I don't mind.
The last Sims things I'm going to mention is. Not Sims thing. The last EA thing was they announced the Sims thing. Were you there? There's
I saw.
the Sims on
the crazy
stage.
fucking performance thing.
Yeah, they talk about these 6 Sims games, and then but this new one is so exciting, and they're like, you're in it. It's exciting.
It's such a YouTube ripoff.
It is just Facebook. They were here.
It's Facebook and YouTube.
But they were just showing it, and all it is a social networking site. And what they showed us was a video clip of a kid doing karaoke. And if you wanted, you could go and take some video clips of Sims characters and put music to it. And this is supposed to be something.
So the rest of the deal
it was nothing. They this is nothing, and you're selling me nothing.
Well, no, the other
and it's free, but it's still nothing.
Free.
It's nothing.
Right. They're not selling it though. So
It has no reason to exist.
The rest
just wait though.
I don't know, man.
The rest of the deal is that it has all the publishing tools in there to do all those things. So, when you go to, if you have a webcam in your computer, it has a tool to let you author movies with your webcam right there in the thing. So you can make them right there in front of your computer.
It just seemed to me they were delivering a product that nobody asked for.
What's it called? What's this
it's
thing
called Sims on Stage, I think.
Yeah.
But whatever. They spent 10 minutes on it, and they spent 1 second on Army of Two and 1 second on another.
I know. I thought that was so funny too.
The Army of Two thing was absurd.
Yeah,
I was going to ask about that.
The Army of Two pitch was basically oh, please have pity on this game. Don't forget about it.
Right, don't forget about it, but we're not going to actually show it to you.
And instead, here's a kid doing karaoke for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Don't forget about it, but we're going to forget about it next. He shows the frickin' title screen and
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah, so Army of Two got the shaft.
I know.
Yeah.
Seriously, it was like, what the
Seriously.
fuck?
Sent
Like,
to die.
Yeah, I was disappointed by that.
Well,
Which is a
but it was
shame
just so
because-
ironic, given that was like the antithesis of his speech. Like it was
Exactly.
That's
Right,
like the
but-
first game I wanted to hear about when people
know.
came back.
Right,
from,
right.
It was that and
did
Left
you
4
actually?
Dead.
Did you guys
I got
see
the
it?
scoop because I played it and checked it
Yeah.
out and with the producer and the designer and had a good time doing it. The Gearsification of Army of Two
Dude,
is amazing.
Dude,
I
every
did
time
hear
I see
that.
it, it's
Yeah.
more and more Gears.
Well,
every single
I mean, do
time.
you think it's like amazingly great or just like amazingly kind of derivative? Like,
Actually,
does it work?
amazingly great. It really, really works because what they obviously identified was that a lot of people were playing Gears online cooperatively,
Right.
really enjoying that, and they already had a game that they could tailor to really pick up on that whole vibe. So they just took all of the stuff that their game was already doing right and tweaked it a little bit to make
Right.
it more Gears-like. They added in like a more familiar camera view. It's like really familiar camera view because it even does that deal when you go to fire, when you pull your weapon up. And the camera zooms in on your shoulder. That same
Yep.
exact. It's like the exact point of view.
Wait,
of Gears.
so they added that in now? Because that wasn't in before either.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's exactly
Like,
so
yeah.
you're running along in one camera view, and then when you go to fire, just like in Gears, that camera comes
Yeah,
right
yeah.
up on your shoulder.
Well, good.
It
I
feel-
swear, like that
it's
every
so
time.
Good, because what was
Yeah.
the
But
best
it's
part
so
of
comfortable.
Gears? Co-op.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's
Oh, I
fully
know.
comfortable. And so what
Right.
they did
Yeah.
that's really cool is if you haven't played the game before, the way Army of Two works, the basic fundamental idea behind it is this thing called the aggro meter that's up at the top. And so you're playing with two guys, and the aggro meter is like taken straight out of MMOs. The idea is for one of the guys to get the aggro or get the attention of the enemies so that the other guy can kind of freelance and do other stuff.
Right,
without
like
being
run around
noticed.
and like snipe or whatever.
Right,
you know.
so we checked out two different levels, and in both levels, they were really, really well designed for that sort of dynamic
Yeah.
where one guy can go and get all the attention, the other guy can go and flank them and get new firing positions. He can, disarm turrets or open doors or turn off traps or get to, other firing positions. It's really, really good
Right,
level
it really
design.
makes you work as a team too, though.
It totally
Yeah,
makes you work
yeah,
as a team.
yeah.
And they have it set up hot swap, so you can hot swap at any checkpoint between single player, multiplayer over live, or split screen. So if you're like playing it at your house and you're playing with somebody on live, and like your roommate comes home and you guys want to play at the next checkpoint, you can say, "Hey, dude, to whoever you're playing with on live, I'm going to play with my roommate. Log that guy out. Bring your roommate in. You're playing split screen." The concern that I have about that is that the single player just does not seem to work so well for me. I mean, it's
Because
very
of the AI and your partner, or why?
because it takes so much away. Because the game is so cool when you're playing it with a real person.
Right.
Because you can have all of that dynamic interaction, and that boils down to when you're playing in single player at the beginning of the game, you pick one of the two guys, and
Yeah.
you just are telling the other guy, "I want you to aggressively go attack. I want you to hang back."
Well, it's
You know,
like,
great.
I mean, it seems to me like maybe another thing it has in common with Gears, at least from my perspective. Like, I enjoy Gears so much more
As a
playing a co-op
yeah.
that I don't even want to play it single player.
Yeah, I don't think.
I
I
wait till-
think everybody's gonna
yeah,
have to.
it does
be
have the
playing
word
that
two in the
co-op.
title.
Army of
true.
Two, huge blast to play.
Right.
Co-op. So you've played it too, right?
Oh yeah, and actually, there's a lot of stuff like it's actually a lot deeper too in terms of like all the weapon customization and stuff
Yep.
too, because you are actually going to want to play with certain people because of the different weapons that they use and stuff like because they'll balance out better. You actually earn aggro faster with certain weapons and stuff like that too. It's
Did you
actually
get to the
pretty cool like that.
what's it called, the overdose mode or whatever?
Yeah. So if you get enough aggro, then you like can go into the overdose. And it's kind of like a special.
It's
you
like
know,
it's like
It's
team-
not bullet
super-
time. Tell me it's not
Dude,
bullet
no,
time.
oh,
it is.
well,
It is,
it's-
but it isn't. It's okay.
yeah.
So it's teamwork bullet time. So here's
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah.
If you're the
Why
lead
did it have to
guy,
be bullet time?
but it's cool.
It's not
give me a
bullet
chance.
Yeah.
Okay, so the guy who's lead on aggro, if he can
Yeah.
fill his aggro meter all the way up,
Yeah.
he becomes like super tank dude. He can't run anymore. His walking speed even slows, but he can absorb super amounts of damage. So he goes in. He's actually slowed down completely.
Wait, really? Oh, wait, or is that only one of the ways or something? Because I thought like if you
That's what
did
this is the way they showed it to me. Is like
it may
when
have
you've got
changed since I played it
I think
too. Like
it's called overkill.
yeah,
It's
overkill.
called
I thought you
overkill.
run faster.
The other guy moves faster
Oh,
because
okay, yeah.
because the theory is that like all the attention is now so focused on that guy who has the
Right.
aggro that they're just completely not paying attention to the other guy, so he can move faster and fire faster than everybody else in the field. So you're actually popping the special for your partner.
You're blowing my mind
Well,
here.
It's
Well, it's cool.
To switch
Yeah.
gears to something a little less aggro and less EA, the Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass is coming up pretty soon, and I know you played a bunch of the Japanese version.
Yeah, I played the crap out of it.
And-
You
yeah.
played some of it too.
Yeah, we can't really talk about the U.S. version's still a ways off, but
Right.
I'm a big Zelda fan, as you know,
Yes.
and I was
Not the biggest, but a big Zelda
not
fan.
the biggest in the world, but the biggest.
Not the biggest at the
biggest
one-up
here.
network.
The biggest here at Ziv Davis.
Not really.
And and I
Who
really,
is wait, you guys are batting. Who is the biggest Zelda fan at the network?
Mark and I had to fight about it once, and I decided I was the bigger.
What was the fight?
Shane thinks because he finished
Majora's Mask with all the masks.
that
And
makes him a bigger
Mark never
Zelda,
finished it. Yeah.
That makes him a bigger Zelda fan.
I also like Zelda 2 more than you.
You didn't finish though. What? Let's see. Twilight Princess, Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, I
All right,
got
hold on. Let's settle.
wait a second.
wait,
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's settle this right here.
Yeah.
Okay. One up yours, listeners. Here. We're gonna let each of you
Let me
get.
explain my
each of you gets
Yeah.
20 seconds.
Yeah, plead your case
To
and then
plead
like
your case.
No, I have to defend myself against the lies
No,
he just
please.
spouted.
Plead your case. Then he gets to plead his case, and the listeners will chime in on the boards and tell us. So we'll let you start,
okay,
Shane.
those
Why
two-
are you the
those-
biggest Zelda fan?
Well, first of all, I didn't finish those two games because I was on a crunch to review them. They were on reviewable lockboxes. I got to the very end. didn't
Yeah,
do the
but if you
last
were a
boss.
true Zelda fan,
no,
you'd go-
don't interrupt.
Oh,
let him.
shit.
You gonna make your case?
Legend of Zelda is my favorite game of all time. It changed my life. There you go. Do your worst.
Dude, that's a lot of people though.
That's your whole case. Are you
Shane,
sure?
I will give you that you are a bigger. You know Adventure of Link far better than I do. I will give you that. But in terms of overall Zelda appreciation and knowledge and general experience, having played the games, how can you call yourself a Zelda fan and not have finished Twilight Princess? I mean, come on.
Wait. You haven't finished Twilight Princess, but you're the biggest Zelda fan?
I had to restart them both because I was playing reviewable lockboxes. I got
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, back
End
to
of
Fat-
story.
Did you finish Majora's Mask, Mark?
No.
Oh.
All right. But I played through Majora's Mask 3 times to near the end because I played it in the Japanese version to near the end.
All right.
I played it the reviewable version to near the end, and then the final retail to near the end. And in my defense, like that game gets fucked up near the end. That
Okay,
game gets
Wind Waker.
I love it.
Wind
It's one of
Waker.
my favorite
I got
games.
mired in the Triforce quest. And I ran out of time. At
All right,
the very
well,
end.
You didn't finish Wind Waker?
All right,
I couldn't anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
the users will decide.
There you go. Listeners,
back to the subject at hand.
Mark
Yes,
or
back to the
Shane,
subject at hand.
Zelda
So
Battle
how much did
Royale.
you play? How much did you play?
I
Oh
played,
God. Okay.
I probably got. It's not a
No,
part
I'm
of
just
the
curious. I
competition.
don't want
Yeah.
to spoil anything for you.
No, I got through probably the 4th dungeon, I want to say. I'm trying to remember the last item I got. I know I had the boomerang, which is
Right.
awesome.
That's pretty early. But yeah.
No,
No, I don't want to spoil. I won't spoil
Okay.
anything. But just overall, like I'd heard from a lot of people I respect, other Zelda fans, that this was like the best Zelda ever.
Yeah.
Like,
That is kind of the buzz.
Bill Trinan among them. Big Bill Trinan.
And I think it is a very refreshing Zelda, and it feels very different. And
but
What is it, like Diet
But-
Slice?
it's,
I know.
it's
The refreshing Zelda.
really easy.
Oh yeah.
right.
Like really easy.
Part of the problem with that is if it is too easy, and I've seen nothing but really great remarks about this game, but it's definitely been a huge success in Japan.
Well, I think
Because
partially because
of
it's
that,
easy.
yeah.
Right. I mean, it was definitely like, okay, the DS audience is not the same audience that we've always made Zelda for. So what can we do to make it more popular for Japanese audiences?
Right.
Because even at Aonuma's speech at GDC, he was talking about making Zelda more for an American audience because it's become more popular.
Yeah.
here.
It's super easy. I can deal with. Like, I mean, is it like
it's
really fun?
It's still really
the entire-
good,
like,
and it's very refreshing because,
Yeah.
because it's so different and so easy, and they got rid of a lot of the things you associate with the Zelda. Like, you don't find pieces of heart anymore. You don't go trading objects around in towns with people anymore. Like, things you
I don't know
expect
about that
from a
pieces of
Zelda.
heart thing. That seems kind of little.
Well, yeah, like, at
disappointing.
first-
You
when-
don't find pieces of
After a
heart?
few hours, I was like, I haven't found any pieces of you find heart containers, but you don't, like, collect 4 pieces of heart
yeah,
to get
yeah.
a heart
But
container.
like the puzzles in the game are brilliant. Like even the early puzzles
They are, but-
using the different parts of
but-
the DS so
yeah,
well.
but a lot of, the puzzles do kind of fall into the, like, are you paying attention? Like
Bold.
visual comprehension things.
Right.
Like did you see these things on the island? Did you like notice these things? Like it's a lot of like retention and comprehension and kind of educational
I
puzzles.
just like, even if it's a simple thing, I just like something that shows you something. You have to pull down the screen, make a
Yeah.
physical
Well,
note of it, draw
I mean,
it,
drawing
and
on
then put
your
it back
drawing
up.
on your map is awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And like a lot of people don't like the Phantom Hourglass itself. What it means is there are these dungeons in the game where you have a very strict time limit. Like
Right.
like you have 10 minutes to finish this part of the dungeon.
It's almost like a little mini Majora's Mask section.
And I
where-
actually like that. I know some people don't like it. I do like those. I think that's clever.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played enough of it to. I've only been through like 2 or 3 sections that were like that. So
But I think it's very refreshing, and Zelda fans should definitely check it out. But if you were expecting like a really hardcore Zelda game, this is not the hardcore Zelda
Right.
game.
I don't know how many people are going to be disappointed about
Because
it.
It's definitely not disappointing.
Right.
Because of the difficulty, it's not hardcore. That's the only consideration is whether or not it's difficult.
And the design, in a way, like the dungeons are small, everything's kind of bite-sized. Like towards the end of the game, you get a little taste of like, oh, this is like a real Zelda dungeon.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like at the end of the game.
The dungeons are definitely like shorter.
But yeah, it's great, and it's a true sequel to Wind Waker too. Like it starts after Wind Waker,
And also
so,
proved to
that's
me,
kind of cool.
the first game to prove to me that touch controls can be. Like, that is the first game, however long the DS has been out. This is the first game that's actually proved to me, like, okay, I didn't really miss it. I mean, you're using that, shoulder button, but
yeah,
I didn't miss it.
it works pretty well.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
All right,
surprised.
I got a couple of other EA experience games. One of them, I double-checked the EA embargo list, and it was not listed, so
Which?
Team Fortress 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
We could fully talk about that,
Half-Life
apparently.
Team Fortress, there's
So,
a big thing
yeah.
on the show today, too.
So let me tell you, dude, I played Team Fortress 2 for...
Oh, please stop.
Oh, it's
Fuck.
Sam.
Stop.
It was Sam. It
Christ.
was Sam.
Fully taking his
Fucking
John role
Jesus
seriously.
Christ.
You have to have the phone going off.
Dude, I
every
played
once in a while.
Team Fortress 2 yesterday for about an hour
nice.
on 360, and it was pretty. This is what is with the freaking team multiplayer shooters on 360 this fall. Between Halo 3, COD4, and
I know.
Team Fortress 2,
I know.
Right.
how the hell are you gonna have time to play all these games?
I gotta say, I was watching a lot of guys play it, and I love how different all the classes are. I was like, Crispin was playing it, and I was like, what is a demo man? He's like, let me show you, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. And then, like, the spy looked really fun.
It's
Yeah.
all crazy. So there's 9 different classes broken up into 3 subclasses. You got offensive, you got defensive, and you've got support characters. All of them have a role to play, and all of them are really fun to play.
Yeah, I saw this like crazy, I don't know if it was from GDC, but this Valve like paper that they gave presentation to developers about how they made the silhouettes of the different classes even different enough that you could, even in silhouette, you could tell the difference from them. Like, so much fucking thought and science went down into every part of that.
That's interesting because you know what? You fully can. You can tell the moment, even on the other side of a long level, you can tell exactly what kind of guy is over there.
Right.
From their body stance and
Right.
from their proportions, you can tell, oh, that's an engineer.
I mean,
that's a
but
gunner.
I do think the graphics are going to turn some people off. Like, I like them. I like the style. I think it's cute.
You
And
think it's a Wind Waker type situation where it'll be like kind
yeah, I
of
mean,
love
like,
it,
no,
or
I think
if you-
when you see it right away,
Yeah.
you're either like, I like this or I don't like it.
Right, but I think people are going into it knowing that
Right,
too. They've
yeah.
seen all the screenshots and videos
But I mean,
and everything. Like they're going to.
If the gameplay is as super fun and balanced as you say,
Yeah.
like, it'd be sad if people don't even try it just because.
The multiplayer
Right, right,
dynamic
right.
on it is fantastic. It is an absolute blast. And watching Sean Elliott play it, who's like, no, dude, that dude knows so much shit about playing those games.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, let's try this. I want you to be this class, and I'm going to be this class, and then we're going to go over here. And I'm like, what the hell are
he
you
is
talking
the
about,
biggest
dude?
Team Fortress nerd. Him and Ryan, they were both up there, and it's in the show today. They played that. Did you play the episode Half-Life 2?
I did not
episode
play.
3?
No, I did not play.
all they
episode
had was
3.
Left 4 Dead and Team Fortress.
Oh, okay.
So
And
here's the thing that I think what you're hitting on about the graphics is that the environments almost look like what you'd expect in a realistic shooter, but the character models are completely like Roadrunner and
But I think-
Coyote
but I think
style
the
of
environment-
crazy.
I think the environments are a little plain
And they-
by modern standards.
Right,
Yeah.
so they wind up looking. I agree.
Yeah.
They wind up looking a little plain. Let me tell you what the trade-off is. The trade-off is that is one of the smoothest running
Oh, yeah.
games I have ever seen.
No hiccups.
Nice.
And not even no
Nice.
hiccups. It's just amazing how smooth it is. You would have fights with like 4-on-4 guys, rocket launchers, machine gun turrets, everything going fucking nuts, and no big deal.
Well, another.
I didn't get to
deal at
see. I didn't get to see it there, but that trailer they ran at the
Okay, I was gonna
presentation
say,
was fucking
so
hilarious.
that trailer,
Yeah.
apparently there's a lot of those. And
Oh, really?
The reason it's so hilarious is
Yeah.
they were written by Eric Wolpaw and Chet, the guys who are behind Old Man Murray.
Right.
Because they,
Oh, okay, that
they
makes
work at Valve
sense.
now,
That
and they're
makes
like
sense.
two of the funniest people in the world.
Man,
so,
that was so good.
So apparently there's one of those for every character.
Oh,
I can't
nice.
wait to see them all.
Those were that was so fantastic.
So I would say anybody who's into multiplayer action online games, you have a heyday coming this fall. It just depends on what pace you like, and that's going to be the separation, right? Call of Duty 4 has one speed and pace to it. Halo 3 has another speed and pace to it, and then Team Fortress has a whole other different speed and pace to it. So
Right.
I think it's going to really segment the audience into what do you like to play, you know?
Right.
All right, so what else did I play there? I also played, we hit all the other stuff I played except for Need for Speed Pro Street, and in particular, the Wii version.
Oh,
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
How is the gameplay?
So here's the deal with the Wii version, and I grilled them a lot about this. Somehow, they were actually able to use the same physics and game engine Sam's new to this whole
Sam,
thing.
yeah,
It's like-
drinking
like-
and
yeah,
Like,
podcasting.
hold on, I have to drink and podcast.
Don't always mix.
Hold on, I'm going to drink and
Here, Sam,
podcast.
Can
check
we
this
get
out.
Sam a straw?
Come in from the side.
shut up.
Sam, like this. Come in from the side.
That's what I tried to
no
do.
one can hear you.
Fuck.
It's like a stealth attack. So somehow they
Just like
actually
that.
managed to use the exact same physics engine in the Wii version that they're using in PS3 and 360.
Wow.
And I called bullshit on that to both the producer and the designer. He's like, no bullshit. We have this guy who's like on our Wii development team. He's figured out how to run the physics model on there. So the handling characteristic, if you like the way Pro Street plays, it will play exactly the same on Wii.
Wait, do you like tilt the controller like a wheel? What do you?
Yeah. So totally, it does use and we kind of had this debate with
Oh,
them.
great! I can't wait. It's gonna.
The only control mode offered to the Wii is that Excite Truck.
Why would they do that?
Yep.
I don't know. That's like when I was arguing. I was like, dude, it's cool, and it works well. And I'll tell you in a second. They have I'll tell you right now. The way I have it figured out is they have 3 levels of assist. So depending on how much like cheat you want built into your Wii Waggle,
Yeah.
then you pick at the beginning. So one of the low level, they're both braking for you and making sure you don't overshoot turns, and they're helping to nudge your car around the
Jesus, what
corner.
do you do? Just push one
You
button
just, all,
to
you
go?
have, all you have to do is like if you start the turn a little bit, it pretty much brings you down the turn line. And you can hold your you can hold your thumb on the accelerator, which is like
So this
the
makes
A-
you feel good,
Is
like
this
you're
the-
actually driving.
Is this
Like
the EA Family Play option?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very much. It's totally family play. And then the middle option takes out most of the braking and most of the guidance. And then the king mode is like full wide open and
right.
you're driving.
And you're
real
driving all over
game.
the course.
Dude,
Or like
it's almost impossible. It's
Yeah,
so hard
exactly.
because
See, I mean, what's the point of
holding the
that?
Wii
Like-
mode out in front of you is just. I was like, guys, this is great, but at 2:00 in the morning when I've been playing and I still want to play for a while and just use the thumbstick, why can't
Is
you
it
let
that
me do
hard
that?
to put in the option? Like, well, don't you cover all of your bases by leaving
don't know.
that option? Default to king mode or whatever the fuck, but give them the
If
option.
I want to use my class controller, why not?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree, and trust me, they heard that from us too. We both myself and who was I looking at?
So what
that
did they
with?
say? It's like impossible to do, or like
They said that
Like-
at the moment this was the desired direction they were going with the controls, and they'd
yeah.
spent a lot of time tuning them, and they felt that it was the best embodiment of the Wii experience. Blah blah blah.
Meanwhile, how are the graphics?
Amazingly good, dude. I was really
You say the best looking racer you've seen on Wii?
absolutely. So
Better than cruising? Just checking.
it is because I really like what they're doing, which is instead of focusing on trying to make the game look really good visually in pieces, they're throwing a lot of special effects. Like it has an amazing amount of motion blur on it, and they just keep piling it on as you go faster and faster. So by the time you get up to full speed, the sides of the screen are just a blur of color, and it works really well because it focuses your attention down the center. And it makes it look cool. They have a really good smoke effects. Weird. You played Metroid, right?
Yes.
So Metroid has this same deal where like the smoke effect is so good that it makes you notice how the background doesn't look as good.
Yeah, in Metroid, I noticed the smoke and the blur looked really good.
Right.
I didn't
So-
even notice smoke effect in Metroid.
Dude,
I mean, I
the
noticed
smoke
the
effect in
bloom
Metroid
lighting.
is awesome.
And the blur, I thought the blurring was really
I noticed the bloom
obvious.
lighting was used all over the place, but
And so the environments look good. The environments have lots of stuff in them. They have all the buildings and the signs and all that kind of
how's the
stuff.
online play?
The cars, there's no online play. You know that. The cars, the problem that all this does is the cars now stand out as not looking good because it's like they're Wii cars and they're in that they're in that primary. They have like that super primary over bright greens and over bright reds and they just don't have the same
Hey,
detail.
they're doing what they
and-
can. Leave them alone, all right? They're trying their best.
I'm telling you, I'm not making fun of it. It looks really good for a Wii game and it runs
But
fast.
yeah,
It runs smooth. It
So
runs
is
fast
it
and
something
smooth.
that like we should be excited about at all, or like
If you have a Wii and you're into racing games, you will enjoy.
if you have a
Pro Street.
Wii
You're gonna-
and not any other system.
Not another
Right.
system.
Yeah, because well, look, I mean, come on, dude. Have you seen that game on next gen consoles? It looks fucking sick.
But my problem was as good as it looked, and it did look better than the last Need for Speed. It's not Burnout. I was like, it's not Burnout.
It's totally different. And Need for Speed Pro,
different.
I'm having.
Is it?
Well, I don't.
I'll tell you right now. I think that John and I have talked about this before. Pro Street is going to just destroy PGR4. Just destroy
Like
it.
it doesn't.
Really?
It doesn't deserve to, but it will. Like when they said
It's so much
when
more
they told me
fun.
that Carbon sold 9 million copies, I was like, okay, at this point, it doesn't really matter what we say.
Yeah.
Pro Street is so much more fun. I have a
Than PGR4?
Yes. Yes. And Pro Street, did you see?
I don't know about that.
Did you see the thing they were talking about with the way they're doing online to where you don't have to play it online, like with other people, to be playing online with other people because of the whole
Yeah.
Ghost Exchange thing. So did you see that?
No.
So they have this deal where you're going to be able to set up your own competitions and do like, so the whole idea behind Pro Street is it captures this new movement of street racing to be a little more legitimate, have events that
It's
are sort of
professional street racing.
right, pro street racing. By the way, that actually does happen.
I know.
And so they set up events like, you can set up your own events like this, come up with your different courses and races, and then once you've set them up, you can invite your friends to come play them. And as people are playing them, their scores are being updated into your race, and that race,
Okay.
and you can see what's happening by logging in and checking it. You can have updates sent to your cell phone. So if like someone
Wow.
beats you on the best time on race 3 of
Oh
your
my
race
god!
weekend,
If I know anybody who has that fucking feature enabled, I'm going to just smash their cell phone. Like, you don't deserve it anymore. Like, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Your fucking
I mean,
Pro Street race time has been beaten. Like, can you not wait till you get home to find that out? Like,
I don't know.
is it that important?
Kind of cool.
I'm curious. Did you check out the new Battlefield?
No, I didn't. I missed
Oh,
the
Bad Company?
helicopter.
Bad Company. Did you see it?
Fuck, I didn't get to.
I heard it was
I
alright.
really, really,
Yeah,
I
missed
really
it,
want to
so.
see that game.
What about Left 4 Dead? Did anybody play that?
I watched Sean Elliott playing it for a while.
I'm really excited about that game.
It seemed pretty cool
Yeah.
for what I saw. Yeah.
Other than that, I got the ROM for Front Mission DS, and that's not out till October, so I'm going to keep playing it before I talk about it much more. But the English translation, whatever, dude. Dude, hey, by the way,
How are your Wanzers?
my Wanzers are great. How's your Wanzer?
Hanging.
Zing.
Yeah, I bet.
Zing.
I bet. All right.
Turn that around on you.
Mr. Kennedy, what have you been playing?
Jeez, this is the time of the year that I really starts pissing me off because, like, we get all these fucking really good games in the office, and I haven't been able to play
If
them
you
yet.
haven't been playing Warhawk, you are such a hypocrite.
I know.
My copy's
no.
still shrink wrap, but when I get
I
back,
have
I'm
mine's
gonna-
sitting on my living room table right now, and like I'm so
Yeah.
pissed off. Like I have it, but and BioShock too. But as you know, like I've been in Europe for 2 weeks, so like I just came back and
It's
then
a damn shame. I feel bad for him.
and also now we're getting ready for TGS, so like I have no time to play it, so I'm not going to get to play Warhawk or BioShock, and probably until after TGS.
Wow.
I
fucking
told
sucks.
you I volunteered
Yeah.
to take care of that for you. If you want to play Warhawk, I will
yeah.
take care of that for you.
But actually, one game that I have been playing is I broke it out now. Is a Company of Heroes. Just decided to start playing that now that I got it. I got a new Mac and
The PC game?
yeah.
Whoa.
I'm getting into PC games now.
What?
Is it because you have a fancy
I
new
got
laptop?
I got a fancy new laptop, and I
Wow.
wanted to play some PC games on it.
You've been on the
and-
road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, that's a Garnet game right there.
yeah.
Company Heroes.
It's
one
so
of the,
good.
One
It's
of the
like-
best games last year.
Yeah.
Period. End
Yeah.
of discussion.
So you said.
So what do you like about it?
I
You
just-
can,
I love-
dude, you can play that game
I'm
up.
not-
That game doesn't get enough gloss.
No, I know. I mean, just like I'm not typically like an RTS guy or whatever, but I mean, like I like World War II a lot, like any game that's World War II, and like I'm just like totally into it.
I've heard
Yeah.
that from a lot. Actually, I
Yeah.
think Ryan Payton is like playing through that game for the third time.
Oh,
or
really?
Something. Yeah, I hear a lot of people who are not big, like your typical RTS
Yeah.
fans,
Yeah.
actually liking that game.
Man, if you like that game, you are going to love World in Conflict.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're just
Alright.
gonna love World
Cool.
in Conflict.
I'll play it on my new Mac.
Anything else before we go to the little breakaroo here?
Well, I did. Well, I played Planet Puzzle League for the first time.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And don't play this guy right here. If you do,
I know,
it's-
I
I'm
am
sure.
unstoppable.
That game is so good.
yeah, he's pretty. Just don't give him more intermission. The way to like stop Shane from going crazy anymore is just don't play him. Just don't play
Yep.
him, and then he
Yeah.
can't say shit. Oh, I didn't play you.
I'm sorry, I'm not
it's
good.
true. He can't beat you if you don't play him.
Right.
That is true.
All right, stick around. When we come back in a minute, I've got some message board stuff, and then we'll see if there's anything else that might be able to challenge BioShock for the crown of Game of the Year. We'll be back after this.
This One Up podcast is brought to you by Konami's Brooktown High Sweepstakes. Enter to win a Konami game pack plus cash. Contest ends September 29th. Enter now at contests.oneup.com.
All right, and I don't have the accent, but I do have the listings of, or whatever, some notes that I wrote down from our message boards at boards.oneup.com on some threads that were interesting. Let me throw out this first one, who was from W, and he has a thread on our boards right now that's called Things People Might Be Surprised to Know About You Game-Wise. And
You may
Yeah.
be surprised to learn
so
that I bought Madden 93 for Genesis new and enjoyed it.
Really?
Yep.
Of course. Genesis Madden.
That's the last Madden I ever bought.
Madden made its name on Genesis.
Exactly.
That was the big decider for me in the whole Genesis SNES race. It was anyway.
So let's see.
He kicked it off. He kicked it off with this.
Yeah.
Let me throw it out for you. What he kicked it off. He kicked it off with that he loves Resident Evil, absolutely adores it, but he's never played Veronica.
That's lame.
Some of the other that is really lame, isn't it?
I mean, it's not the best one, but it's worth playing.
Right.
Some of the other stuff people threw out there, OF Crazed said that he and a neighbor have logged over 100+ hours each in PSO. Offline.
Same here, dude.
Offline?
Sure.
Offline mode?
100 hours is not that much.
At
to
least
post
100
out.
hours. Wait. At least 100 hours offline and upwards of 300 hours online.
Yeah.
Really? See, I thought the offline mode was supposed to be crap.
But yeah, but you can power up your character and get all the rares for yourself. That's not.
What else did people
From the comedy side, we have a user, listener, Skylark.
Oh no, wait. Is this still in that same thread?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
it's still on the
cool.
same thread. Skylark, who has a female avatar. Like her first thing was, I really am a female.
I don't know.
Which I thought was funny.
Really?
And the second one was that only once has she ever said, "You just gotten beat by a girl over Xbox Live."
Are you sure that wasn't Larry Lana Wachowski posting on
I don't know.
it?
I thought we should encourage her to be in touch with her inner bitch and she beats some people.
Whoa.
Jeez.
Slap them
Wow.
down.
Maybe this is why she doesn't.
won't be posting
Yeah,
again.
I know.
She's female.
Way to drive another one away.
All right, so next one. Although he gets way too much play in the first place, but we love him. It's Beige, and this one is out there because it's funny. How about this? Beige carried a laminated card of Jaheira from Baldur's Gate 2 around in his wallet for 3 years.
Not surprised.
I met Beige at PAX. Not surprised.
No longer. Well, you'd like that. And then to wrap it up with Dataset says that he spends 75% of the time in WoW in the auction house. That it's like the new Wall Street for him.
Wow.
Interesting. Well, why don't we go around
Right,
and say
so-
things
so-
that
Yeah.
people will be surprised? A couple things I can think of. Maybe you guys don't know about me, but if the game that I've probably played the most in my life, put the most hours into, probably
Doom or Quake?
Quake 1 on the PC.
Well, I knew you used
Wow,
to be.
really?
Mark used to
Quake
be in
1
a
on the PC.
Mark used to be in a clan.
Not
And
only was I in a
he
clan,
lived in a house with his clan members.
No, I didn't. But
Yes, you
but
did.
I was there a lot.
Oh.
And we were in Spin Magazine. We were the world champions the first year. That
Really?
there was, yes.
Whoa!
I'm very
Wow.
good friends with Entropy, my friend Tom.
Did
who
you,
lost.
Whoa.
wait. Didn't you date Stevie Case?
No. He
Nobody
was,
fucked her.
That was
What?
Garnett just pulled that out of thin air. No,
Her lazy
no,
eye
I
didn't-
didn't
her lazy
that,
eye didn't
I
bother
didn't
you?
that either.
What?
She was a friend of mine. She was the girlfriend of Tom, who's Entropy, who lost to Thresh in the first Ferrari challenge. Anyway,
I was hired by Thresh at my
there
first
you go.
gaming job.
It's all
Anyway.
comes together.
Yeah.
It's 7 degrees of Shane
Synergy.
Bettenhausen. Number 2 game is Samurai Showdown 2.
The only fighting game you like or are good at.
No, it's when fighting games got kind of
Good.
stagnant and broken and boring, then I kind of moved on to other things.
Mark believes that the invention of the Super in Super Street Fighter 2 ruined fighting games. And
No,
he could
I
not
didn't-
be more wrong.
It didn't ruin it, but it kind of ruined Street
Just because
Fighter.
it was too much for your hands to handle. You know?
It was kind of like, you
bad.
can't be satisfied with like the purity of the.
It's called progress.
No, it's called too much like flash and glitter.
But you're Showdown. Who do you play? You play Hamaru, right?
Yeah, no. My
Galford?
character's Jubei.
Jubei.
Yeah, and I can beat like the guy in the Sega arcade in Akihabara.
I'm pretty sure my Cham can beat you.
No, it can't.
I'm pretty sure she can.
No, it can't.
Maybe we'll have to find this out later.
All right. Yeah. So what are your guys' gaming things you don't know about me? You might be surprised to find out about.
Jeez, Garnet, do you?
I can do it. So the very first gaming business job that I ever had was as a in-game guide for Neverwinter Nights in America Online,
Wow.
Wow. Oh, I knew that.
which was
I knew-
the.
You
you
did know
told
that?
me that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you told me that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to come up with another one then.
Yeah.
God, what else can I get for you?
That's pretty good. That's good enough.
yeah.
If you have another one, that's cool.
I
But
can't.
Shane, I know
And I probably spent like.
Sam,
What?
Oh,
What was that?
That was.
That was Garnet's
Oh,
phone.
oh.
mine.
Come on,
Sam,
boys.
Sam, you worked for GameFan.
Okay.
Whoa!
What? No
Yeah.
one's surprised about that. Doesn't everybody know that?
Garnet was surprised by that.
I was moderately surprised by that. Really?
But it was for 2.5 months.
Right.
Yeah.
You were only there for that long?
Yeah.
Well, then what was your
It was-
What was your game fan handle?
Captain Smack.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
How
well,
about this?
yeah.
I turned down a job at
Game
Game
Fan?
Fan. Yeah, there's a surprise.
Was
for
it around the time that I went there?
It was before that. It was.
Oh.
I just wanted to stay in school. Nothing against Game Fan.
Yeah, yeah.
I loved that magazine.
Yeah.
back
I was
in the
about to
day.
say,
Well, see, okay,
that's
so-
what I was about to
right.
say. I'll say
Yeah.
my thing is like Dirty
Right.
Secret. I
Oh, wait,
loved Game
I gotta
Fan.
go. I gotta go in.
Okay.
I was the first person at. I wasn't even at EGM, but before anybody at EGM played Halo, I played Halo.
What?
Yeah, because you were
What?
at like EXO 2 or
I was
something.
I was out here on the West Coast. I wasn't an employee of EGM. I was a freelancer, and those guys were all in Chicago back then, and they needed someone to go to Microsoft to play all of the Xbox One launch games to preview them for the magazine. So I played Halo before Shu.
Wow.
Dude, that's impressive.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Kennedy, come on. Nut it up.
Any other?
Any others?
I can't.
Started gaming age. How
Yeah,
about that?
there's that.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
You're responsible
Yeah, he
for
is.
For NeoGAF.
He is
God.
100% accountable for Neo.
I'll tell you what, like when I left there too, I was like half debating, like, should I,
should have raised it with fire.
Because like remember the GIA,
way.
like when Vestal, like
Oh my God,
they,
dude.
what?
GIA was fantastic.
Yeah, but then they shut it down.
Yeah, they did
And I was
shut it
like,
down.
the thing that grew up out of the embers was disgusting.
I can't tell you how many
Yeah.
hours I spent trolling GIA and Fat Babies. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fucking shit was awesome.
All right, let's move.
All right.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
All right, so the other one that kind of ties into this was a thread that we had to go along with a feature that we ran last week, which was The Kids Are All Right, which was about embarrassing things that you've done for or because of video games. So Central Scrutinizer said that he drove 2 hours each direction for a Jaguar on launch day.
Oh,
Yeah.
And the rest of the thread kind of
even like a 20-minute drive each way.
I remember
for a
when
Jaguar
I
is
drove.
too
I drove 40 minutes to the mall the day 32X came out. Walked into EB, looked at 32X, was like, "What the fuck was I thinking?" And walked right out. And that was like the biggest Sega
Wow.
fanboy you ever met.
Was it $2.99 or $3.99?
It was $2.99.
It was only $2.49, I believe.
Really?
But I already. At this point,
I was so into Sega at the
Well,
time.
like,
Like
I was so into Sega, but
yeah.
I knew that at that point, Sega Saturn was coming out in Japan in
Yeah.
3 months. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Yeah, but I was I was under the belief that it's okay. Like 32X will do everything that's
Yeah.
Virtua Fighter's just fine on the 32X, and like
Whoa, Mark got so excited his cans flew
Yeah.
off of his head.
God,
The-
32X.
Thinking about Cosmic Carnage just got you so
I know, I
excited.
know.
I was thinking about was it Metalhead?
Metalhead.
Metalhead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually seeing,
man.
I remember looking at that game in Akihabara on a trip there and like, I can't wait. I can't wait.
So what were some other embarrassing stories from our
This is a good thing though too. Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
What are the users, and then we
Well,
can go
so,
around.
so the rest of the user thread kind of degenerated. So I'm going to encourage people to go in there and do something other than these, because the rest of it was gaming T-shirts in public.
yeah.
No.
Broken controllers. I say
You broke a controller a few days ago.
I kind of knew that was going to come up, but I will go
You
past
should
that
have
one.
told me about it.
What? Yeah, I shouldn't have. Well,
I
why
haven't-
not?
I haven't
You
broken
remember.
a
He
controller.
broke a 360 controller, which cost like $40, by the way, playing Madden against Brian, was it?
No, just
Oh.
against the AI, which was having
Proud
it's-
to say I haven't broken a controller since Resident Evil Outbreak. So
Outbreak. Really, the
Oh,
Outbreak was really frustrating. I
Oh
would
my God.
fully agree with you on that
Oh
one.
my God.
And
Yes.
then scarily, there's a whole sub topic in the thread about masturbation and
Yeah, well, let's not
Wait,
go there.
yeah.
I'm curious, what game did they masturbate to? That's surprising.
there wasn't anything surprising. There was a lot of Dead or Alive in there.
That's
All
what
right.
it's-
Yeah,
Wasn't
let's
surprised.
move on. Let's go. Shane, take it. Dude, let's get
What's
your.
the topic? The most embarrassing thing we've done?
Embarrassing?
What was it? The most extreme thing? What was it?
Embarrassing things that you've done for or because of video games.
Oh, man.
See, I don't think
Yeah.
that I would, like a lot of the stuff people cited, I wouldn't call embarrassing. Like, it doesn't embarrass me that I broke controllers. That's just because I'm type A and I
Right.
get fired
Okay,
up
well,
about
like
it.
people say that I was in cosplay, and there's a pic- they once.
Oh, this is
And
good.
there's this VGM where Damian Lin, who was
Yes.
doing the letter section at that time, ran a picture of me saying it was cosplay, and I was dressed as Parappa with a homemade Parappa costume. this is before Sony sold Parappa hats. I made my own, and it was
That would-
Halloween. all
that
right?
would be cosplay.
It was.
I dressed up as a Wiimote for Halloween.
That's see
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
It isn't cosplay.
Yeah, actually, if you dress up as Parappa with a homemade Parappa hat, that's definitely.
Why don't you take it more in the vein of the guy who drove 2 hours, like for Jaguar, which isn't even that crazy. But what's like an extreme thing you've done for gaming?
I've spent a lot of stupid amounts of money on games.
So give us what's the top
Yeah.
story?
I mean, I bought Saturn the day it came out, and that I remember it was like $600 all
Please,
spent.
who hasn't? Give us something better than that.
I don't know.
Have you spent any money like on like a like shitty Japanese game or something like that you just needed to own or whatever, like anything like that?
They weren't shitty.
I'll tell you, one of the craziest things.
The entire lineup from Kenji, you know.
I do have all 5 covers of D2.
Yeah, see, that's
there you go. Now you're getting back into embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed by that fact one bit.
Now you're getting back into embarrassing.
Shane, down with the tentacles.
Big time embarrassing.
I'm not ashamed.
I will say, like, I have a couple Phantasy Star Online stories. One,
this is a good one.
I told on G4, which is the power went out at my apartment when I was playing Phantasy Star Online. And it was we just got it and we were playing in the reviewable. There were only like 10 people playing at the US Press, and the only outlet that was working was my refrigerator, so I unplugged my refrigerator and dragged everything into my kitchen to keep keep playing. Because my landlord, I couldn't do the fuse, and my landlord had left for Christmas, so I was like, well, fuck this. I'm not going to stay here and not play this all night. And then the other story is when I was playing it again on the Xbox. My girlfriend had to be at work early in the morning, so she was asleep in the other room, so I had to whisper a lot. And people people just thought I was so weird. Yeah, try it sometime. Get on Xbox Live and just whisper to people like, hey, I'll get the rocket. I'll meet you over there. Like, people are like, people don't know what the fuck to do, but they're scared of you. So it was very interesting to be in like a party with 4 people and be doing that on Phantasy Star Online.
Yes, and it counts.
Yeah. Okay, I thought another potentially embarrassing story. It wasn't embarrassing at the time, but when I got my NES, I was very excited to get my NES.
Wait, what about when you finished Super Mario Brothers?
Okay, I'll tell both these. Okay. So I was a kid, and I really wanted an NES really, really bad. I was like 86, and I got it, and I stayed up like all night playing Super Mario Brothers, and it was like a Saturday night, and we had to go to church next morning, Sunday, and I was all tired. And I was at Sunday school, and I remember you had to like thank God for something. You had to go around, like all the kids had like thank God, and I was like, I thank God for Super Mario Brothers.
Yes,
and the Sunday school teacher was like not happy, but then like all the other kids were like, oh, and then a bunch of other kids like thank God for Super Mario Brothers, and I was like, I was right.
Oh man.
The other embarrassing thing is when Super Mario Brothers 3 came out.
Yes,
it was during spring break, and I was so excited.
This is a great.
How can you not thank God for Super Mario?
Well, and I beat Super Mario Brothers 3, and I was like so proud, and like. I go out. None of my friends weren't around. They were for whatever reason, and so I was like, my sister was gone. I was like, Mom, come here. I was like, I beat Super Mario Brothers 3. I was like, and I don't know what I wanted her to do, like to be impressed by that. And she was like, that's nice, dear. Like watch the ending. I was like, and I realized that while she was watching, this is lame. Like, why did I bring my mom in here to watch the ending of Super Mario?
That was your equivalent to like hitting a home run though at the game and having your parents be there to see it.
Are you proud of me?
Yeah,
and
you're like,
would you like some Oreos and milk?
You met my mom.
God, I was trying to think. Like, actually, you might have been there, Mark. I can't remember, but like a couple of years ago, when we were in Japan, like I think we had just been like out drinking the night before or whatever, and then the next day we had to go to like Team Ninja for like an interview. This was
God,
like
the eggs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like we're in the cab ride.
This was Dead or Alive 2. We were going to Tecmo to talk to Itagaki before he was leather
this
pants.
Was before
and
he was like cool. Yeah.
Before he was cool.
The modern
Dead or Alive 2 arcade and Dreamcast.
Right.
Yeah.
So like we had whatever, had some drinks or whatever the night before or whatever. But then in the morning, like we like all the scrambled eggs in Japan are always like really really runny. Like yeah.
And also the sausages are just hot dogs as well.
Yeah.
The breakfast sausage is.
And I had never had that before, right? So
you can't don't describe the scrambled egg. You have to give the full picture. The scrambled eggs like touch the pan for a second and then pour them off. They're gross, disgusting.
It is actually the French way of cooking scrambled eggs. It really is.
Oh, okay.
It is. It's acceptable.
Either way, like
they're
this
not
was a shock
fully
to
cooked.
me, right? But I was like hungry.
They're a little wet.
So I had them for breakfast at the hotel or whatever, and then we were in the cab ride over there, and I just started like the thought of it just started making me like
you're forgetting.
Yeah, what?
We kept talking about the eggs.
Exactly.
All we could talk about. Yeah. All we could talk about was the eggs. I think
wait. Does this story end with you puking on Itagaki?
Not on Itagaki, but
unfortunately it doesn't. Close though.
No, but like the entire way in the cab ride, you guys are talking about it, and I'm like I'm starting to feel so sick, and like I had to roll down the window in the cab too, and like
we didn't realize it. And we keep talking about these eggs, and like oh man, God, it's just like the yolk, and they're like even thinking about it's making me kind of sick. Meanwhile, Sam's over there like whoa. And so we realize Sam is like getting sick, and like me and John look at each other, and there's like a 10-second pause, and then we're just like, yeah, God, those eggs, like and like I think the cab stopped. You had to stop the cab at one point.
Yeah, like he was wondering if I was going to get sick or whatever.
Right.
I was okay in the cab though. But so we get there, and like I don't know if we like actually. Yeah, I think we Did we
went
get
to the
introduced?
basement.
Like we went to the basement
Yep.
part, and like I don't know if we actually started talking to him or not, but I had to excuse myself, and I puked in the bathroom at Team Ninja.
You were
Nice.
gone. You were gone for like 25 minutes
Yeah.
or something. It was like, whoa, wait a second, where is Sam
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well, there you go.
Good times.
yeah.
Did you tell one? No, you didn't.
I didn't tell one. I've been trying to think of something embarrassing. I'm not good with embarrassing.
Garnett, an embarrassing
Let me
stories.
see what I have.
Where to begin?
Yeah,
Well,
no,
Jeez.
I can't think of any actually. Where?
Maybe E3 2007. I don't know.
What did I do? What did I do in E3?
You'd kill.
Maybe we should keep it. We should keep
Oh,
it
no, we don't want to.
game related.
Yes.
Let's
Yeah.
keep it
we were
tied
keeping,
to
we were keeping it
games.
totally game related.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go down
Yeah,
any of
let's not go down
those.
that avenue.
Yeah, those avenues are closed. for
Something
repairs.
extreme you've done for
Extreme. Now,
gaming love.
when I ran a video game store, because I was into the whole thing of running it as wanting to be a journalist, not really running it as like a market. I did like weird stuff like the first. I think it was the first. There was one of the Baldur's Gate games that came out. It literally fucking shipped same day air on Christmas Eve, and I lived in Houston, Texas.
I
at
remember
the time.
that. I think I worked at EB at the time.
Did you? And I lived. Okay, so I
Wow.
lived in Houston, Texas at the time, and in a freak, weird Mother Nature thing, we actually had an ice storm in Houston, Texas
Whoa.
that night, and the airplane, the UPS plane that had our same day shipment, slid off the runway at what's it called? Ellington Field, which is like in South Houston. So I was like, and I had tons of people who wanted it, and I knew that they were dying for it. So I'm calling UPS, giving him shit. The dude shows up at our doorstep at like 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve with four like jumbo boxes of them, and I stayed there until 11 p.m.
Wow.
and sold every one of them to all the people who had it pre-ordered.
That's impressive.
It was really cool because people were so happy. And like there was this dude there, like this one guy I remember, his name was Philip Prieto, who was like such a crazy hardcore gamer. He was like so happy about it. Anyway, it was cool. That was cool.
I'll tell you
Philip,
something.
if you're
like,
listening.
For me, like I used to work at a video store, and when I was and like I was like kind of like the video game guy at the video store, right?
Right.
And I was like so excited that I get to like pick out all the games that we would buy and put on the shelf and stuff like that. And then, but I would also go to the extreme of like I would write cheat codes and stuff like that and put them in the manuals for everyone.
Yep.
And like
You really-
I was
oh,
like
dude.
the video
You
game
know
guy.
they care.
I was like so happy. Like anytime someone would like visit the section and like come up to the counter and ask like, "Hey Sam, what do you think of this game?" And,
That
like,
notes section,
yeah.
you'd be like,
I got my
go
embarrassing
under
one.
Craig and
What?
Oh, I got my embarrassing one. So, like just like on that
Yeah.
same thing in EB, they had those televisions, right? Where like people would show like they had like the stupid corporate video, which was
I used to make my own.
suck
I
ass.
used to make my
Dude,
own
I made my
videos.
own.
I made my own
way.
videos all the time.
all my own.
You're allowed to do that?
I made an hour
Fuck
long.
no, we weren't allowed to do that, dude.
I remember I made
did
an
it anyway.
hour-long video of Final Fantasy VII on the Japanese version. I made an hour-long video of Gran Turismo based on the Japanese
Okay,
version.
so I would do the same thing.
Do you have those videos anymore?
Oh God, no.
God.
So do you remember Legend of Legaia?
That
Oh,
game
yeah.
sucks ass.
Okay, so
I know.
I would go home after work, which was like super late anyway, and like play games. I did one for Legend of Legaia, and someone came up to me in the store and they're like, "You realize like the dude that's in your video has been standing there for like an hour doing the wait animation." I had been like taping me playing Legend of Legaia, but I had fallen asleep while like running the tape, and so the dude is like standing there in his wait animation, tapping his foot.
As it turns out, Legend of the Guy is pretty shitty. So your video probably was
Yeah.
pretty
Oh.
representative.
Oh.
Yeah.
anything else exciting on the board?
So last but not least, there's a thread from Lone Ranger 2.5 that was, "What's your most amazingly disappointing gaming moments?" And by the way, I want you to note that like this is 3 good threads from the One Up message
They're actually
boards.
inspiring us to
Yeah.
contribute.
I know. So
If only in audio form.
his was kind of bizarre. He said that he played. I'm not sure I exactly understand, but he was talking about having played Darkness for too long and then realizing that
The Darkness.
The Darkness, right. And that he might never play another game like it. And I think what he meant was that he had played Darkness for like such a long span of space that it was too long, and then he might never do that again. Matchbox Matt said that Halo 2 single player sucked hard.
That was his most disappointing.
most disappointing moment, Halo 2 single player.
Wow.
Banana
Mark's like, maybe.
I mean, I guess it's all relative. If you're that excited about Halo
Right.
2, like it could be that. I guess like the ending was definitely. I would put that among my.
Yeah.
I literally went to Frankie at the time, and I was like, do I need to play on Legendary to get the last level? Like, I think my build is missing the last level.
Your build was missing the last level? Yeah, I don't think so. Like Halo 2, I was talking about this with Shane, and we'll get into this in a minute, but I've never finished Halo 2 because I got to the Audrey and said to myself, oh, I can't play this anymore.
See, but I think
I'm
it's
not Seymour.
I think it's all relative because
Master
like
Seymour.
you do have the highest of expectations
Well, I mean,
for
right.
that. So it doesn't if
I
it
think-
doesn't live up to that. But relative to all other games,
Right.
even the way that the Bungie guys talk about it, like Halo 2 is still a fucking great single player game. Like I would definitely argue.
Yeah, I never
that.
finished
Alright,
it either.
let me
but it was
get through
just
the
like
rest of these.
multiplayer was so good. I just fucking I was like, what
Right.
Well, we're gonna hit Halo in just a second as far as story goes. Next one is banana flavored pants. He said that that after Deus Ex and the whole choice between saving your brother or not, that no other game has.
Spoiler. 5 years. Fucking
I know,
8
I know.
years,
I'm
10
sorry.
years late. But okay, go ahead.
No other game. If you haven't played Warren Spector's best game, you should go play Deus Ex. One little spoiler. Let me tell you, there's a ton in there. Anyway, you can actually save his brother. By the way,
That was his most disappointing thing because no other game would ever.
no other game since then has lived up to actually offering you a real choice that you had to make. That you could actually make a real choice and have a difference.
I will say like biggest disappointments.
Hold on, we got one more.
Okay.
Blade of Keys, after finishing Twilight Princess, hasn't touched his Wii.
Oh.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
Bum,
Yeah.
bum,
Worth
bum.
playing. Worth playing.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
real quick, I would say biggest disappointments: Samurai Showdown 3, Street Fighter 3,
What?
Resident Evil 0.
What? Street Fighter 3 wasn't on
Mark,
your-
okay, Mark isn't allowed to be disappointed by Street Fighter 3. You really aren't. You,
Mark,
have,
Whatever.
you
How
haven't
can
played
you
a single fucking Street Fighter since Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
And that's why Street Fighter 3 was more popular than Street Fighter 2, right? Right?
Street Fighter 3 is a great.
Oh,
Street
wait.
Fighter 3 is a phenomenal game.
Yeah. No, it's great for if you're fucking like you masturbate to like the
Ibuki.
code to to whatever
Hey,
fucking
we had a lot of
crazy
kids
hardcore
masturbating
weird
to
code.
games, right? Like,
right.
on the
The
boards.
masturbation fits in well
Yeah.
with our
I'm sorry,
boards.
dude. I'm sorry. Character like it did not take it to the next level to be worthy of the Street Fighter 3
I agree
name.
with that. I agree with that.
You people.
Whoa.
Whatever.
I understand among hardcore fighting
Right,
fans
right.
it is great, but I mean to get that kind of mass audience hysteria.
Maybe you'd like more like a Killer Instinct or something. I don't know. Maybe that's more your
Anyway.
style.
I'm more Marvel Capcom anyway, so I could give a shit about the Street Fighter argument.
I will let you know I've never played a game of Killer Instinct, so
Never?
just to clear my good name.
How could you never play KI Gold?
Fuck no, that game
Are
was
you-
shit. That game
That
was like
game was shit,
That game
yeah,
was like
that
the
was-
worst parts of Mortal Kombat, like
Yeah.
times 1,000. Like
But how could you not have played it? Everybody played KI Gold.
You don't have better disappointments than Street Fighter. That's weak.
no, dude. Okay, this is disappointments. This is relative to your expectations.
Right,
This is
right.
not saying Street Fighter 3 is the worst game I've ever played by a long shot.
right.
It's saying my expectations for a Street Fighter 3 relative to
Alright,
what was
alright,
delivered
alright.
is pretty low.
Alright.
Resident Evil 0, I don't know if I said that. That's
No.
another one. I mean, it's again not a bad game, but relative to what I was hoping for after remake
Right.
was kind of a
I mean,
letdown.
yeah, most of my disappointments are that coming off of an amazing game and having
Right.
super high expectations for the sequel, and then being like, "This is what I get."
Katamari, and then the Katamari follow-ups, like for such an original, crazy, inventive game, to be so derivative and I mean,
Right.
I can't
Look, if we're
believe
going down that
they're
avenue,
doing.
we were just talking about J.C. Denton. Deus Ex 2, well,
But it's still a good game.
it's an okay game. It's an
See,
okay
this is
game.
like all the games we're talking about are like,
Yeah,
well,
well,
except for Killer Instinct.
Okay, but let me
Yeah.
let me do mine real fast. So, Phantasy Star 3, like
Yes, thank you.
loved Phantasy Star 2, and I
Yeah.
was so fucking excited. I saved up all my money. It was like $80. I remember the day it came. All my friends were over to see it.
Yep.
And we were like, "What?"
And they're
is-
like, wait a second, the top half is like a green duck, and the bottom half of the enemy is like a blue bear. Like, is this like switch a plot? Like,
Yeah.
what is going on with the
ultimate-
enemies in that game?
ultimately,
It was so
yeah,
fucking.
ultimately, Phantasy Star 3 is like a 6.5, but Phantasy Star 2 was like a 9. So it was a huge
if Fantasy
disappointment.
Star 1 was a 10.
Right. So, okay, then the next one, I would say overall Sega CD. Like, I can.
oh, Sega CD! I can't believe
Like,
you just stole that from me, you bitch!
I bought a Sega CD instead of a class ring in high school, and I was like so excited for it. And like I made myself like Night Trap. I got the perfect ending in fucking
Oh, I
Night Trap.
fucking totally did the same. Sewer Shark. I was like, oh, Sewer Shark. Dude,
Sega
check
CD.
this out. I was bringing people over to my house and
Yeah.
going, check this out, man.
Right,
Look,
right,
Sewer-
yeah,
and
so,
Sewer
like-
Shark, look, they got real people's faces.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I was
Shit
the
is
same,
live.
same exact way.
Right.
But like, so like at the time though, it wasn't a disappointment though. Like in
Oh,
retrospect, it was.
Yeah,
but
no,
no.
you just
Look,
kinda
Garnett was
fooled
just saying
yourself.
like, yeah, exactly. We were fooling ourselves.
I fooled myself.
Yeah.
It took a lot of doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the time, you're like, oh shit, check this out. It's like
Right.
FMV and a little box on the front.
Dude, I
monitor.
remember sitting
Yeah.
around my apartment like, Well, doing something that you might anticipate to
Masturbating. To sewer shark.
Yeah.
We get back to the masturbating, embarrassing stories again.
we were not masturbating, but anyway.
All right, let me do.
Yeah, finish
let me
up,
do-
and then convincing each other, dude, check that out. They got real people's
Right.
faces
All right.
and they're talking.
Let me do 2 more. Next one, Jet Set Radio Future. Jet Set Radio
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
my favorite game of the year. Jet Set Radio Future, not so much.
Definitely.
And my last one, it isn't mine, but it's a really, really good. I'm just going to tell. It's one of my best friends in high school, Tevis. He wanted Super Mario Brothers 2 so bad, like, and his mom like went to like Canada to buy it for him.
It was so hard to find.
right. She like literally flew to Canada to
What?
buy it for him.
Were they rich?
Yeah, they're really
Whoa.
rich.
Ugh.
Came back and it
Serious.
was his birthday. It was his birthday party. He put it in, started playing it. Within like an hour and a half, he was like at level 7, like near the end of the game.
Oh,
And he
no.
was so upset that he turned it off and made all of his friends go home.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
yeah,
Oh my
but I'll
god!
never forget.
He's like, Tevis is
my God.
displeased. You must leave now.
He's like, Mario 2 is not good. You guys got to go.
I don't know. Fuck. I mean, 32X we covered already.
Sega CD we
Uh,
covered
yeah, I
already.
know.
Yeah, now that we're getting into hardware, that's like a
actually,
whole
yeah.
other ball game.
Panzer Dragoon Orta. Like a lot of people liked it, but
Whoa,
I just,
what?
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah,
It's
really?
good.
It just
it's,
was like
it's good, but it's not what
Your
it was.
doesn't live up to the series for sure.
In
Like,
fact,
yeah,
all of the Sega sequels on Xbox were not that good.
right.
Well, but
right.
Oh, man.
my expectations were not higher than just like a
Toe Jam and Earl.
higher
Oh,
res,
my
nice version
God.
of Panzer
Yeah.
Dragoon.
I don't know.
Oh,
Toe
God, don't-
Jam and Earl on Xbox.
Oh, you know, I never
how about
played that
Crazy
because
Taxi
everybody's
3?
Guess
Ugh.
what?
Yeah.
Toe Jam and Earl sucked in the first.
No,
Oh,
no,
fuck you, dude!
Yes, it did.
Fuck you! That is some bullshit.
Sit back down. That game sucked ass.
dude.
in
At the
first
time, I
place.
loved it.
Fuck you!
It sucked such total shit.
Nah.
Oh, they got attitude.
Oh,
it's
oh my God.
hip hop
Okay.
video games.
You know what?
Yo.
I'm kinda-
It's such fucking dog
right,
shit.
No, it is
I am
not.
God.
All right, I'm gonna be the voice of reason here and side mostly with Mark. I love.
Thank you.
I loved.
Whatever.
I loved it at the time. My friends and I
Whatever.
played through it many times. But you go back
Okay.
now, you're like, this is what I
But
was
you're
playing.
who cares?
Garbage.
You're not going back now. I mean,
All
like
right.
at
It's
the
on
time,
virtual,
like a lot
it's on
of this
virtual
stuff.
console.
I think
Yeah,
you better.
but
I think
fuck
you,
that. Like,
I think you better
yeah.
give me some more Belizean rum, and I'll just quietly fade into the corner. That's fine. Whatever. I
No.
enjoyed the shit out of that, but the Xbox version, not so much.
What about for you, like something like Call of Duty 3 or something?
Oh my God, dude!
Yeah.
Call of Duty 3 was a disaster, and
Right.
especially because so Treyarch, who I had talked to, like they used to have this creative director dude there, and I don't know what happened to him. His name was Christian Busick, and he was really, really imaginative, but he somehow didn't. He did Big Red One, which Big Red One was like really imaginative. They were trying to like expand.
Why does Big Red One make me laugh?
Because it sounds like a dog's penis.
or a donkey? Oh,
Yeah.
But I mean, they had tried so much with that series to take Call of Duty somewhere further and expand on the cinematic presentation. And Call of Duty 3 was such a letdown.
Right. After
it's-
2 is so good, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'll give that to you on the disappointment, but again, like I keep having to like say and remind myself, like on its own, I don't think it's that bad of a game,
Right.
but like
right.
compared
Following, yeah.
to expectations, okay, yeah, maybe.
Were there any like RPGs or anything like that, Shane? Do you remember? Like that were just
That
like,
disappointed me?
Yeah, like
Oh,
You know, I know I'm
Lunar-
forgetting a
I'll
million
give you one right
games
here.
right now.
Series
So-
or whatever.
Oh my God! Fantasy Star Universe. We actually
Oh,
had an
Jesus
EGM.
Christ.
Biggest disappointment
Yeah,
of all of last year. Like, if you could have told
Oh.
me, and we talked about
And
this.
I wrote the cover story, dude. I
Yeah.
convinced you to have us do that cover story because I believed in it.
If
And
you
I
could
still
have-
have my account because everybody else is going to play it, and I still
Right.
have my stupid
You're still waiting.
license.
if you could have told me, and I said this to Shane, like that 3 months after the follow-up to Phantasy Star Online came out, that we would not be caring about it
I
or
know.
playing it,
I-
I
okay,
would have never believed
But you know what? I am prepared to give it another chance when the Dawn of Illuminus, whatever the expansion comes out, because it's had a year now to percolate. And you know,
Does anyone
I
care?
don't know.
anymore?
It's
Like-
shipped unfinished. It's shipped as like a fucking 40% beta. That's why I give it a
Jesus.
score. That's
All right,
why, that's why I
let me
give it
let me
score I
answer the
gave it.
question that Shane has posed the question here on a piece of paper. Do we really need another topic? Maybe not. Well,
yeah,
let me-
I was going to treat it
actually-
as one last thing. but
Actually,
then
the
go
topic
on to-
is the last thing, which is have we anointed BioShock already as Game of the Year?
Okay.
no.
No.
Next segment.
It's the one to
break.
It's definitely the one to beat.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, you know, without saying I'm going to give these games great scores, I can imagine like Halo and Mario and Smash Brothers and
Yeah, it's the
But is
fourth-
anything gonna come up-
Uncharted.
It's the fourth quarter. This is when all the shit that could contend with it. Based on review scores, BioShock has been doing incredibly
BioShock,
well.
dude,
Right.
I will give you
310s.
that.
310s.
As somebody who's played 5 hours of BioShock, I am absolutely not convinced that this is.
So what's it going to take
End
to
of
be
Game of the Year.
So then the question is, what does it take to be Game of the Year this year?
I mean, the same thing it takes to be Game of the Year any year.
What the hell is that? What is that?
It's excelling expectations in every category.
Yeah, and
And BioShock doesn't do that?
No.
But I think there are at least 8 or 10 games still to be released this year that have
8 or 10?
that have potential to be Game of the Year on my radar.
Yep.
Personally.
Okay,
That's what I'm
first,
saying.
Like what? For instance?
Like the things I just named:
Halo 3.
Mario, Smash Brothers, Ratchet, Uncharted,
I don't know.
Oh,
what
come on,
Uncharted, like,
Uncharted.
Mass
I don't-
Effect.
Mass Effect.
Give me a break.
What?
On Uncharted. On Uncharted.
Unreal Tournament 3,
Oh, Unreal Tournament 3, definitely.
Planet Puzzle League. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Is there any chance that a DS game could actually, or a portable
No,
game for that matter, could be a Game of the Year?
I voted
Really?
for when WarioWare first came out. I voted for WarioWare with a serious Game of the Year. It was my Game of the Year.
Right.
Really?
It really was.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm trying to think what the other contenders are. I probably didn't vote for that, but I can see that. Like, it was such a sea change. Like,
Well,
it was a whole different way of looking at video
I
games.
think some people are going to argue Phantom Hourglass.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Yeah,
So there you
that's
go.
true.
That could be
Right.
your first
Who knows?
portable
And
choice.
everything I played of Ninja Gaiden and Dragon's Sword was pretty fucking awesome too. Don't count DS out. Don't count PSP out. You never,
Right.
you never know.
what would you have on PSP?
Well, Crisis Core is next year in Japan. Here.
Right.
But there's some good games on PSP.
There are definitely some good games on PSP, but not something that's. How is it going to grab Game of the Year? I mean, come on. For us, at least as the media, in enthusiast media, Game of the Year is this game that
Well,
blows
I'll be
us
honest.
up.
Like, look at BioShock though too. Like, I mean, a month ago or 2 months ago, did we think it was going to be like this? Like, great,
Not at
this
all.
popular.
Garnet,
Like, yeah.
Garnet, don't ask me to subscribe to your antiquated paradigm of what belongs in Game of the Year.
Oh, my
consideration.
antiquated paradigm.
Yes.
Well, so ask me to subscribe to your antiquated paradigm.
Yeah,
Sorry
how
for-
did this come up in the first
Yeah, I
place?
know,
You guys
like,
were
you guys-
going to.
So
tell
look, we
us.
have platinums. We have platinum award in EGM, which is 3 10s for
Very rare.
BioShock.
And I have to say,
how long?
and nothing against any individual 10, but I am surprised just from what I've played of the 5 hours that it ended up getting 3 10s across the board, and that's not a knock against BioShock because it could still be a 9 or 9.5, but I am surprised that it got the 3 10s more
You're
so.
looking at one of them right
You're
here.
looking at.
I know.
Let me tell you, for me, I am very much a experiential gamer. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm very much into the experience, and the experience of BioShock so blew me away because I loved being in Rapture. I didn't want it to end. I really, really didn't want it to end. I just wanted to spend more time down there in Rapture, wrapped up in the whole thing. It was the most amazing, complete package of place and story and action and everything working together to like tell this really cool story, which like led to the other big argument that Shane and I had, which was, has there actually been a first-person shooter that had a good story?
Yeah, I don't go too deep in this. We've gone pretty long, but my argument was like, as a genre, people have lower expectations than they do out of a role-playing game, or even like at this point, an action-adventure game.
He makes a pretty good argument.
I
It's kinda
totally
scary.
agree.
And
I completely agree.
For me, all my friends back in the day were like, "Oh, you gotta play Half-Life. You gotta play Half-Life. It's the first FPS with an amazing story." So I played Half-Life, and I thought for the genre it was very well presented story, but the story that was being presented to me was X-Files fan fiction, and I'm like,
And
you know,
not even
this
very
is-
good X-Files
Yeah, this
fan
is so
fiction.
wildly derivative, like so derivative that like I can't pretend like this is actually a good story. It's just well presented.
Right. So I totally agree with you. However, what about games like System Shock 2, Half-Life 2?
Deus Ex.
Well, yeah, I'll say Half-Life 2. I haven't played much of it, but what I have played did raise the bar definitely over what Half-Life 1 did.
Like,
Right.
absolutely.
But again,
like-
That's what I told you
but again,
yesterday.
a lot of it is like how it's being told to you, not actually what's being told.
No, and then that's true. Like, people were so blown away by scripted events was the big buzzword that came out of Half-Life 1, which is like, wow, I'm actually being told a story while I'm still in control
Right.
of things.
Holy
That's amazing.
cow.
And it is amazing, and it counts for more than an adventure game where you sit back and watch it like a movie.
And I think when we get to an FPS where the in-game real-time like storytelling and acting that's happening is like the same quality as say Heavenly Swords cutscenes with like really great actors, really great motion capture where it's really believable in every possible way, then FPS can truly like graduate to having like the best story, you know?
Right.
I just don't think we're there yet.
If you haven't done,
But I haven't played BioShock yet. I'm waiting, so.
And unfortunately, the mechanic inside the game of playing Deus Ex doesn't really hold up that well anymore. I tried to play Deus Ex about 6 months ago, and I was so disappointed in like the shot and the hit detection, and just it's very mechanical. You really feel like you're playing a game, but the story of Deus Ex is really Very, very gripping. You really get into that too.
And actually, I mean, from what I know of the story of BioShock so far, which granted is not a lot, but it is working on so many more levels than most games even ever attempt.
That's so. Cool. Well, wait till you play 2 Human, dude. It's working on 3 levels. It's incredibly Shakespearean.
Right there is why I gave it a 10. I mean, really,
Yeah.
right there is why I gave it a 10. I mean, I had this argument with someone the other day. Is a 10 like a perfect game? What the fuck?
Oh, come on, not that again.
There's no such thing as a perfect
Whoa.
game. It just does it exceed your wildest expectations
Exactly, right?
in more category.
What the fuck would be a perfect game? How would you even have it? It's like we're never going to agree.
There's no such thing.
Sam,
no
what
10
game
is
have
a
you
perfect
played
10.
that you got completely wrapped up in that really grabbed
Well, see,
your
that's the thing. Like, because Skip had mentioned to me that it was like BioShock was the best game of the type since Super Metroid for him.
Oh,
and I was like, wow, okay, I need to play this game.
Yep.
And so like that, because that was one of those games that just to me at the time was just so perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was that way about Metroid Prime. Like Metroid Prime blasted my expectations away. The original one.
Yeah. You know what I want? I want a first-person shooter that has me so completely wrapped up in the story as Final Fantasy 12.
Can't say I was so wrapped up in that one.
Really? You didn't like the whole political intrigue and not being like a teen fan fiction?
Yeah. Matsuno's games, I think I stopped remembering characters' names after character 50.
Yeah, you kind of have
to
really
take
notes.
I mean, when you're playing an FPS, do you really want to get pulled out into this story?
Yeah,
anyway?
I do. Actually, I do. I want to see
to some extent.
Like
yeah,
I would like to really care about who I am and the people around me and the people I'm fighting against.
Yeah, it's not getting pulled out into a story. It's getting pulled into the story. Yeah, and I have to say,
pulled out of the gameplay though, where you're I don't know. I don't know if you get if you have all these cutscenes and everything, wouldn't it? I don't know.
Well, it's not necessarily cutscenes.
The antithesis of that is Serious Sam and dude.
But I mean, the way a lot of
blast, but
the way a lot of
like that.
developers approach FPS in the first place is gameplay first. They think about the story second.
Well, yeah, most FPSs don't really have a story as much as a premise.
Right, exactly. That's what they go into it with.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this for 2008. There's 2 games that are going to go head to head for my game of the year, and that's going to be Alan Wake and Resident Evil 5.
Well, and Alan Wake, I'm really excited for, but it is in no way a shooter.
And you're also assuming Resident Evil 5 is going to come out next year.
Resident Evil 5 will come out next year.
You can't wait to. You can't.
Yeah.
How much do you want to bet?
I don't know.
How do you
remember what happened with Resident Evil 4?
I gotta say, Mark, I'm with Garnet on this one.
Really?
I do believe that RE5 comes out in 2008.
I hope to God that you guys are right, but I remember Resident Evil 4 too well, and the stuff that he's saying about probably before 2010.
I mean, where is this even coming from? How would you guys know?
The interview in Famitsu from about 2 months ago, he was very coy, and he was at one point he's like, 2008. But he's like, oh no, that's too soon. Maybe 2010. I'm like, you don't say 2008 and then recant that and be a dick.
I don't know. It just sounded right there. He's leaving.
Do you remember how many release dates Resident Evil 4 went through?
Well, how many iterations did Resident Evil 4 go through?
Who's to say that Resident Evil 5 is not going to do the same thing?
I think that trailer they showed us, that's people playing that. I think we will be playing that scene in that trailer in the next 6 months.
Oh, in the next 6 months.
Awesome.
Someone will. Whoever gets the first U.S. cover story.
Oh, you mean us in the press, not
the
release.
Oh yeah,
not the public.
So you're saying fall 2008.
Yes.
Okay. We were talking about disappointments a minute ago. The ending to Fahrenheit was a huge disappointment because that's another game.
High Matrix Reloaded.
Well, even worse. But that's now that I think about it, there's so much to look forward to because the game business is getting so much. The presentation and what we're playing is getting so much more sophisticated as real entertainment.
I think there's also a lot to look forward to in the news segment coming up.
Oh, my!
Someone's got to segue around here.
There
you
you go, dude. Way to go, Shane. Thanks, man. We'll be back in just a moment. We'll have the news for you, complete with firmware updates and all sorts of Sony news. Don't go anywhere.
Don't stick around.
Do stick around. We'll be right back.
This One Up podcast is brought to you by 2K Sports Ultimate Fantasy Sweepstakes. Pick your dream team, win a dream prize. Sweepstakes ends September 10th. Enter now at contest.oneup.com.
All right, we're back and ready to hit the news. I've got it all right here, but we wanted to hit on some of the sort of news-ish things that happened at the EA conference yesterday because Shane brought up how funny it was to see Peter Moore talking about
Well, yeah, this was Peter Moore's debut as as the head of EA Sports. It was his second day on the job, and he was in rare form. He was a pretty funny guy.
Yeah.
He picked up the PlayStation 3 controller and talked
He's like,
about
OMG, Peter Moore.
OMG. Yeah, Peter Moore holding PS3 controller. And
Did
then
he lick it?
No, he didn't like it, but he called it his new favorite console.
Right.
And then later referred to Wii as his second new favorite console.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, Wii 360 or whatever, Wii 60 thing, like playing to
dude,
that." And like
the part that blew me away was him talking about now being in charge of EA Sports and saying, "I remember back when I was at Sega Sports and we were always trying to catch up, but we were never good enough."
Right.
That's a good Peter Moore voice, by the way.
But yeah, I
That's uncanny.
thought it was lame that he was basically saying, "Yeah, I know Sega Sports was never that good."
What's he say? That's bullshit, though.
That is
like they
fully
had,
bullshit.
Yeah, 2K. They took the momentum
They took it
from
further
them.
than anybody else ever took.
They had the
Dude,
online play.
The year that they had the black Dreamcast with the Sega Sports NFL bundle, that game was better than Madden.
yeah,
Easily.
But given
No question about it.
yeah, I wonder. Given the performance of 2K's game this year, I wonder. We'll see.
Yeah, they just got to get the visuals there. I mean, the game, the actual mechanics of what it played was good. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the news. We got Microsoft first up. So we all know about the Call of Duty 4 glitch, which was that if you had someone on your friends list who had the game, you could grab the game, and there was this big controversy.
Yeah, I mean, it was more than that. It was a process to do it. I know because David Ellis. Not that anybody should ban him for this, but he did it for like 20 different people. So
Hope you're not listening, Microsoft.
I didn't say his gamer tag.
So here's the concern is we have some friends over at Infinity Ward because I mean it's no secret that we have a lot of love for Infinity Ward. They do fantastic game design work. They're very good guys, and they're concerned because there was a rumor floating around that people who had used the glitch to download the beta would get banned for 24 hours from Xbox Live, and they wanted to make sure that people knew that this is not Infinity Ward's doing, that it all stemmed from Microsoft. Well, now Major Nelson, Thursday evening, posted that actually 23,000 people are not getting banned from Xbox Live. So who knows what the hell is going on as far as the bans. The bottom line is this. Microsoft wants to be sure that you know that the Xbox Live service is some sort of secure service and that they're doing their due diligence to keep it up. Does anyone really care?
Yeah, I mean, probably not. Like Infinity Ward, as long as it doesn't go crazy. I mean, it's hard enough to do that. Not everybody's going to do it.
right. And what's the end? I mean, it's not the biggest deal.
Well,
that
and the
more
beta,
people are
the beta,
playing
the beta ends. I mean, it's not
Right.
like, it's
Yeah,
like,
but it is a problem if people are doing with Halo 3 Epsilon, for example.
yeah, so what's the deal with
or
that? Like-
other things like that. Then it kind of does become
Well,
a little
yeah.
problem.
Well, I don't know
Yeah.
if you have a story about it, but what's going around the net right now is if you try to play Halo 3 right now on Xbox Live, you don't get banned for 24 hours. You get banned till the year like 2099.
The year never?
Right,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you are playing that at this point, somebody is really fucking done some crazy shit in
Right,
order to get you
right.
that. It's one thing when it's like public beta for Call of Duty. It's another thing when it's like Halo 3 is supposed to be private, like Microsoft employee only.
Oh, whatever. So
I wonder,
folks,
is piracy getting to be more of a problem on 360s somehow because of this? Like,
Well, I mean, it's kind of a weird form of piracy,
Yeah.
right?
It's like
Because
game sharing, kind
it's
of.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like a.
oh, come on. It's a freaking open beta. It's not piracy.
But it's not an open beta.
Okay,
How-
it's a closed beta, but it's still
Yeah.
not piracy. It's not a retail product that you are securing
But
through
it's-
illegal methods
well,
in order
you-
to get around paying for it.
But
You can't pay to play Call of Duty 4 right now.
Right, that's true, but it's still when you say it's not illegal method,
It's a violation of terms of
at
service.
best it's a gray area, but
It's
at
gray.
worst it is illegal.
It's not illegal. It's a violation of Xbox Live terms of service, but it's not illegal.
Okay, so if
Well,
they
how is it a
ban you
violation
from
of terms
Xbox
of service, though? Either like,
Larry,
I mean, that's getting into like.
No,
Major
it's not
Nelson-
because
It's not.
when you agree to download it, you agree to the fucking thing that you agree to when you download like a
right,
beta.
the license agreement.
Right. So if they ban you from it, then they're totally within their legal rights. It's
Right.
more
Well,
a
you
public
know what?
relations issue.
I'll just say this right
than
now.
anything else.
I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but I can tell you this much. You can't go out and buy Call of Duty 4 right now, so it's not like you're circumventing
I'm but a
retail
simple
channels.
caveman. I
am
am not a lawyer.
exactly.
I'm but a simple caveman, but all I know is I just want to play some urban combat.
Give me ool. I need ool. All right. And, speaking of laws, our governor here in California has gone nuts again over the stupid anti-gaming violence bill, which was the California Bill 1179. It was struck down already. So it's, Governor Schwarzenegger here in California, if you don't know, he's announced in a press release that we have a responsibility to our kids and communities to protect against the effects of games that depict ultra-violent actions. These games are for adults, and the law I signed ensures that parents have the chance to determine which video games are appropriate for their children. He's back pontificating about how, by the way, upcoming election years,
Right, exactly.
these guys are right about banning video games. What do you guys think about this?
Banning them? Is that what he's saying? I mean, what is this really
what's
about?
Yeah, well, if you remember Patrick's story about
Yeah.
AB 1179, which was the anti-video game law, it was going to make it illegal to sell these games in stores and would also hold the persons
To minors or just illegal?
to minors.
Okay.
Of course, to minors.
So it's like
Right.
cigarettes or whatever. Like,
Yeah, it is sort of like cigarettes.
You know,
I
a
suppose.
funny thing to this story is, and I think Patrick might have done a news story on this, I'm not sure, but I was in Best Buy buying Resident Evil 4 Wii for a friend, and it had a sticker on it that said you have to be, first of all, you have to be 18 to buy it. Not 17, but 18 to buy it. And they will check ID at the counter. And then I went over, I'm like, really? The Wii version? Really? And then I went over to the GameCube version of Resident Evil 4. No sticker. No sticker on any other mature rated game anywhere else. It's just like
That's
with
pretty
the
nuts.
Wii. Yeah, it was crazy. Its own weird thing.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean, on this sort of thing, like, again, I just kind of fall back to movies. Not that movies are the best parallel for
Right, and
games and
it's-
everything, but it's like, you know, like some kids are going to get it one way or another. Like maybe it's not such a bad thing for mature rated that any kid isn't walking in and buying a mature rated game.
On this podcast, we've said before that eventually we kind of all think it is going towards there will be enforcement eventually.
Right.
It's
Right.
an inevitability.
Well, I think we have a good agreement here that there needs to be adequate ability for the consumer to find out what's going on as far as what they're putting in front of their kids. But some of this stuff is just crazy. I mean, the hyperbole here and the amount of it's just being turned into political maneuvering is silly. Like Leland Yee, senator here in the, let's say senator here in the story, so I'm relying on Patrick's reporting that he's a senator, says that the $31 billion video game industry has fought any attempt at regulation. I'm sorry. You know what? The video game business has not fought regulation. The video game business has supported the ESA and wanted to not have it be legally required.
They fought
Right,
government
exactly, yeah.
regulation,
Right.
which is good. They should. And the sad thing is, like, he's a Democrat. You get it from both sides
get it from
here,
both
in
sides,
both
right.
holes with this thing, with video games. You
You're
really
getting
do.
coming and going.
it's just
Yeah.
so funny that it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the one who's doing this, like
Right.
guy who's like naked in Terminator and
Yep.
fucking like shooting the shit out of everything.
Have you seen Pumping Iron?
So anyway,
Yeah.
the good news is that the ESA has countersued yesterday, and they're countersuing the state of California to recover the legal expenses of $324,840 in fighting this the first time around. There was also a big story out of Great Britain in the last couple of weeks about a very sad murder that happened out in front of a pub with some kids that's been attributed to violence in the media. What's starting to happen, and what's happening in the Great Britain story, and the reason that I didn't bring it into this, is that it's not just video game related. People are actually starting to move closer to saying, let's censor what's in front of people as far as entertainment, whether it's television or movies or video games. I don't know that I'm really okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to stay, at least for the foreseeable future, it is going to be a double standard. If it is a video game, the same stuff is not okay that's in movies or books, just the same way that sex and violence is different in there's a
Right.
huge double standard in movies about that. I think it sucks and we can rail against it, but it's kind of fact. I mean, it's kind of like a reality that I think we're going to have to live with until, like we always say, until the older generation dies off and
right.
the people who grew up with video
You know,
games.
the hard part for me is I'm actually getting tired of railing against it.
Yeah, I mean, it does come up like surprisingly often, and will again next year, probably more than this year because.
But if we're not
it's
diligent
election
about
year.
it, what's that going to do for everybody else?
We are the fucking line. We are the thin white line, Garnett. We are the only thing keeping it from going to hell, right?
There you go, Mark McDonald, thin white line, confirmed. All right, the people who don't have to worry about this is Nintendo, and actually, a very good friend of the show, Guy Kroll, who's been on the show several times, had an opportunity to interview Iwata, and they got into a subject that's been a big topic for Nintendo, especially around the Wii, which is whether the first-party development of Nintendo has all but crushed third-party development. He had an interesting take on it, Iwata did, which was that he believes that the job of first-party software is to drive hardware. Because if you don't have a quick impact and quick dissemination amongst the audience, you lose momentum.
Right.
This is really very interesting because this is what happened with the DS.
It is the job of the platform holder.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
it's actually not, if you go back through past generations, this is very much a Nintendo sentiment. Like Super Mario Brothers, yes, that was it for the NES. But actually, like Sega, third-party stuff. PlayStation 1, third-party. PlayStation 2, third-party. The first party was kind of bolstering and filling in holes. Like it was like Sony used to make sports games because they had to. Now they moved away from that a little bit. They still do some of it.
I think you're giving Sega a benefit of the doubt. Look at Master System. Over like 75% of the titles in that system are first party. And Genesis started out.
Right. Genesis was all about like, hey, your arcade at home.
It wasn't until like the third year of Genesis the third party really took off.
But Master System was a failure. First party, Sega did not.
It was not a failure in Europe. It beat the NES.
Right, but Sega, it was not because Sega established it as a first party. Like the system that has embraced and made third party successful is the system that's done it, and it hasn't been through first party driving it.
Wait, really? Because I thought we all. Is there anyone of us here that doesn't have like a special spot in their heart for Dreamcast?
Well, but
sure.
Dreamcast,
what does that have to do with? Yeah, I know.
But
that proves my point all the more. They had great first party.
They didn't have great first party.
Dreamcast is the proof that, like in modern
they had one Sonic game.
Now you have to have both.
They had one Sonic game and they had one football game. What else did they have for first party?
They had a lot more good stuff. But
like what?
We're not going to fight about Dreamcast.
Like what?
Listen,
no, like what?
But it wasn't
Jet Set Radio.
Like what?
Right.
Okay.
Shenmue.
Very niche. Very niche.
PlayStation, Square, Final
games,
Fantasy, Genesis, arguably like a million different games you could argue, but like the EA Sports games were all better on Genesis than they were on.
Right, but I think,
Super
but look
NES.
also back.
Exactly.
Look at Genesis though. It was also like Sonic was the thing that really made it.
But against Super Mario, like come on, Nintendo. Are you telling me Sega's first party games were better than Nintendo's first party games?
No, but the way
they
took advantage of them though, like Sonic, was it better than Mario? I don't know, but like the fact that they were able to market it as a better product, that was the big deal. Like
I still think it came down to the third parties. I agree they had way better marketing.
Does
play it loud, whatever, but
on PlayStation, for instance, PS1, that was all about.
I think Nintendo has proven that you can be somewhat successful. Like the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube were in a way successful. They were profitable consoles.
Yeah,
and they had very poor third-party support.
Yeah, I mean, look at any Nintendo handheld. Like, it depends on how you define third-party support. If you define people putting out tons of shitty games that sell well,
you know, Mark, that Disney Princess is one of the 10 best-selling GBA games of all time.
Now you're talking about support versus the quality of the game, because long after the Dreamcast had been laid to rest, I was still playing Soul Calibur on my Dreamcast.
Right.
So where's Iwata going
with it was untouchable. So anyway, the whole point that Iwata was making was that by driving forward very strong with first party at the initial launch of hardware, they are actually making an environment that third parties can be profitable in and that they should be drawn and attracted to. He believes that its most important role right now, though, is that they need to prevent Nintendo from being in a company where people say, "Oh, Nintendo is arrogant."
Well,
so this is like
which is absolutely like that. That is a good thing. To
awesome
I'm really happy you said that. Because that was Nintendo, and hey, that was Sony.
Right.
Arrogance breeds complacency breeds second place, third place.
I think actually the real problem facing Wii is that Nintendo isn't being arrogant enough.
Really?
Wait, what? With their third party?
In that they have no third party approval process. They have no product evaluation group. All you need to do to get your game released on Wii is pay their licensing fee, and you can put out whatever.
But that was the same on the GameCube too, though.
So that's a reason.
Charlie's
that's
Angels.
the reason Charlie's Angels came out on GameCube.
You guys have a story about this,
and not
in the
PS2.
New next EGM,
the next issue of EGM, our lead news story is all about this, and it's very, very interesting.
Yeah. You didn't give any more spaced Charlie's Angels, did you?
No.
Oh, thank God. Well, the one thing Wii does have is, and Nintendo does have, is some more upcoming intriguing trademarks. They filed a bunch of trademarks, which CVG reported on. They here are some of them. There's Mii Contest Channel.
That's been announced.
There's Mii Audition. There's Nintendo Magic. The Wii
yeah,
Body
like,
controller.
What's funny, reading stories about this, people didn't seem to know what Nintendo Magic is. It's a game that's already out for DS in Japan. It has a release date here. What it is, it's like a piece of bullshit where it comes with a deck of playing cards and teaches you card tricks. It's the only first-party Nintendo game I saw on clearance for $7 new in Japan.
This would be Magic Tizen,
Yeah.
and you don't like it.
It teaches you card tricks. It's like, are you going to spend $40 on that?
You got a problem with card tricks?
Yeah, maybe.
Pick a card, any card, bitch.
Jeez.
Continue.
Okay.
All right, so what's big out of any of this is obviously the contest channel is going to be a new channel on the Wii.
Been announced.
I'm
And
still
also
waiting. I'm still waiting.
Announced at GDC.
and the Check Out Me channel. Obviously, the Wii Fit balance board is going to be the body controller, right? So I guess what's Soma Bringer? You know what that is?
Soma Bringer?
Soma Bringer.
Sounds not fun.
Okay, so how about this? Is Wii Handle going to be an improvement of the friend code system?
I hope.
God, we can only hope
Yeah.
so.
It's got to be. It's got to
so.
be.
Give it a name,
so.
not a fucking number, please.
Yeah.
Especially with Mario Kart, 16 players online. Are we talking about that? Like, good
16,
God.
16
Yeah.
players, 16-digit codes.
Yeah, exactly.
know.
How many people do you know? I know one person that has that many Wii codes, and it's Jeremy Parrish.
Right.
And that's it.
Am I the only person here who doesn't own a personal Wii?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Loser.
Loser.
I'm
Wii is
telling you.
where it's at.
Okay. All right, anyway, on the subject of PS3, though, they got all kinds of Sony news. First one is that MotorStorm, which to me is still the game that if you buy a PS3, dude, yawn all you want. If you buy a PS3, you got to have Oh, come on. You got to have MotorStorm.
MotorStorm's fun, dude.
Yeah.
MotorStorm is fun.
It's
and
very fun.
It's
That's
the game.
Yep.
It's the game you got to have.
Are you
in
an
your
Excite
PS3.
Truck person? What's your problem?
Yeah, MotorStorm is unbelievable. Yeah. Let's buy a
Oh, come on.
$600 console for that.
What do you think, Sam?
No, it's a fun game. It's
Yeah.
More
Yeah, it's a great game.
Well, anyway, there's more DLC coming.
Yawn.
All right, whatever.
God.
How about
Exactly. Thank you. Like, MotorStorm, not a bad game, but come on.
No,
Like,
what's
is
the
it
big-
that
like,
exciting?
Actually, the new mode that this adds is really, really fun.
what is
the
it?
new mode?
What is it?
It's like,
That's a new level.
so what happens is you do laps, and after every lap, the person who's in last place dies.
Oh my God!
And when they die, they explode, and the explosion like hurts everybody else.
Can you pull the
That's
right
kinda
trigger
cool.
and do it in slow motion and take out other guys?
Yes.
I'm glad they're doing new stuff with it, but come on.
That's fantastic.
It's not that exciting.
MotorStorm
It is for
out.
MotorStorm fans such as myself.
I
you
guess
know what? They're
I
gonna
guess
call it Burnstorm.
yeah, there's not that many games that people like. To be honest, like that people have on their shelves for PS3. So any downloadable content for any of them is.
It's
good
also
news.
the bundled game with the new bundles.
Right,
That's
So-
right.
Dude, I'm a great choice because that is the game that you
Shows
should
it off.
have.
Shows it
if
off.
you have a PS3, you should
use the 6
you
axis.
should-
Has good
Yeah,
graphics.
absolutely,
Get
totally
going.
have it.
Can-
All right, so new firmware for the PS3.
Dude, there's like a new firmware
every
week.
twice a week.
Yeah, I know.
gotta fucking come
Yeah.
on.
This
Like
firm-
I'm amazed. I mean, it's like weird because like I'm happy that they're doing this. Like it's great to like get new
Right.
stuff, but like fuck, it's
Well,
like every
Like, I
week.
just updated my PSP, and Shu had to play another
Yeah.
game that came out like a week later, and
Yeah,
it was
it's
like, no,
amazing.
I have to upload
Yeah.
it again. I have to
Well,
fucking get
hey,
the AC adapter
What's
out.
unfortunate are updates like this one, where it's not really a content update; it's more of
What
a
is it?
fix update. It fixes
Oh.
some crash bugs for Warhawk, and like it.
You know what? That's still unconfirmed because Sony doesn't really give you notes.
That's the
of what
weird
goes
thing
with it.
too. Like I was,
They never give any notes.
Yeah, it's weird.
Tell me what I'm getting, and I will say,
Well-
like, the updates are great in that PS3 is the absolute choice now. I can hardly even play a DVD on my 360 because the PS3 options
Yeah.
for the DVD
Yeah.
player are fucking incredible.
Yeah, the
like, they're
upscan-
By the way,
so great.
Upscan is
For
great.
people who have followed my saga, I finally got my PS3 back.
Oh yeah.
No more whistling. It plays everything perfectly. When the fans kick on, it sounds nice and quiet.
And
Everything's
actually,
awesome.
my-
I'm very happy. I'm
Yeah.
totally happy.
My /EGM's Elite 360 that I just got is fucking up now on downloadable content. When I try pausing something or getting out of it, it fucks up. It locks up. I have to restart
oh
it.
my God.
You broke our Elite.
I'm telling you, dude.
Apparently, I did. But
Microsoft needs to like reset the table and relaunch 360.
they absolutely need to improve the DVD. They have fallen behind Sony, no question.
Way
in
behind.
one respect, it is the the DVD player.
Are you really surprised that Microsoft made it worse DVD player than Sony? I mean, really?
Well, a little bit, given
Alright.
the update options that Sony, how far they've lagged behind in their kind of update options, as many as they are, and that's what's driving me fucking nuts. I'm so tired of downloading these huge things that take so long. I have to hook up the fucking controller. Blah blah blah.
All I hope is the 2.
Well, now you don't have to anymore, right?
Oh,
Like,
no,
the
actually,
controller,
actually, you still do. So, look,
What?
there was some speculation.
I thought that no,
There was an announcement on September 4th
Yeah.
that Sony has entered an agreement with Limelight. And for people who don't know, Limelight is a provider of bandwidth over the internet to deliver lots of content. And the agreement
right.
they entered into
We use
was-
them too.
We used to use Limelight,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then, so they're like the chief competition is another company called Akami, and these guys they deliver lots of bandwidth.
They have servers all around the world,
All
like
around the
tons
world.
and tons and tons of servers.
So they said that they're now going to deliver PS3 and PSP software updates, which is basically the
Right.
firmware stuff. But if you read the fine print, it also says that those updates may range up to 150 megabytes. It doesn't say that Sony's switching to an incremental system. And as lots of people have noted, they already got good speed on the download. The problem with the PS3 firmware updates is not the speed, it's that you have to rewrite the whole frickin' thing every time you update.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully when 2.0 finally comes, it is the really big update we're all wanting with like
Yeah.
XMB in game.
That's the deal
Jesus
right there.
Christ, you scared the fuck out of me.
That was
Very
loud.
excited about this.
That's
Yeah,
the
you
deal
know,
right there.
there's so many updates. There's things that happen that I don't even realize. Like
Yeah.
Crispin Boyer from EGM was showing me one of the different. There's 2 different picture viewers, and I'd never seen the second one. It's kind of cool.
I also heard that you can get like Flash now on your wallpaper for your PS3. Is that true? Did you see that?
I haven't
I
seen
didn't
that
see
yet.
that.
No.
Is that part of 1.92 or is that
That's
part
this
of
is the
2?
thing. Like nobody knows. Like nobody knows what's going on with it. Like
They should be better at promoting what's happening.
I wish you'd get a message or
That's
something
the
on it.
thing
Would-
about like Xbox is I have to say is doing it right. Like
yeah.
they have a thing twice a year, and you know what you're getting
Yep.
in it
Yeah.
because it's kind of an event, and they
Right.
make a big deal
Right.
of it. And
Right.
it also isn't that big of a download. It adds
Yeah.
on instead of re-downloading the whole thing and reinstalling the whole thing, which I think they're stuck with, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They just patch what's new.
I
And so
just-
it's
yeah.
a short, quick thing.
Well, it's always fast, right?
Right.
And case in point, like of making an event, how about being able to play Lair on your PSP?
It's pretty
That's
crazy.
interesting.
It's pretty crazy because
Yeah.
like when we first started talking about remote play, like someone had mentioned like, "Would you think you can play PS3 games?" Everyone's like, "No, that's impossible. There's no way."
See, I knew that was going to happen, though. I knew that was
And-
like what they were going to
yeah,
do.
And even though Lair
yeah.
isn't the PS3 game you want to play on your PSP, and a lot of people were just like poo-pooing this, and like, who cares? No one's ever going to do it. But like, yeah,
The interesting thing is you can actually use the analog, though.
Right,
on
but-
a-
You can use the analog nub and fly your
Yeah.
dragon,
But
except
no.
you can't do that
I know,
when you're
no.
playing on your
no,
PS3.
but there, I think there will
Yeah.
there will be games that I do want to play.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Oh, no,
the
like,
game title, like a Final Fantasy Tactics or
exactly.
something that's
Yes.
going to
Sim-
make
simpler,
this
yeah.
No,
make
it's going to be
sense to
fucking
me.
awesome. Like
Yeah.
Some-
an RPG or like
You need
yeah.
a game that's going to actually make
Well,
this
and-
exciting.
And
to
also,
me.
Yeah.
you know, it isn't perfect, and especially over the internet, there is some lag. I mean, you can't expect a flawless experience here.
Right.
But
Of
as
course.
like a weird piece of nifty tech that like they put in the PS3, it's
Right.
cool.
That's
it's
what
very
I'm saying.
forward thinking.
like a turn-based game, something where
Yeah.
lag doesn't matter. Like this.
Can
I
you
think
guys
that's-
believe
I think
that they're
that's
not?
cool.
It's totally
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
cool. Can you believe that they're not promoting this? Like right now, so from what I understand, you could put Lair in your PS3, go to work, log in over Wi-Fi with your PSP, and play some fucking Lair.
Yeah.
at
But I
your
mean,
desk.
didn't you answer your own question? Like, who fucking cares? You're at your desk, plug in a fucking PS3. Like, when it's going to be exciting is when there is a game that is built for this. Like a Pokemon.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that it was built for
Dude.
being a Game Boy game. When there's a game that's built around, hey, you can access it when you're at home, you get a better experience, but you can also access it on your PSP. That's when it'll be exciting. Like, it's not worth making a big deal of right
By the way,
now.
Sam, how many times can I get written up because when White Knight comes out, I've got a feeling I might be playing. I might be sitting at my desk with the PSP playing some White Knight.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
As far as Lair goes, Julian, I've never met you, and I'm sure you're a really good guy because you're
he
very
is a good guy.
He is a very good guy.
You're very
Yeah.
passionate about games. Please stop defending Lair because I don't want to report on any more of these stories like now talking about how Lair's development is cursed. You know,
What?
Well,
what was
you know,
this?
but this
Like-
interview happened before the reviews. And now it's being kind of misconstrued as like a defense.
What is this?
yeah, yeah.
Educate me. I don't.
Okay, so on MTV's Game File, Lair lead director Factor 5's Julian Eggebrecht called into account the eerie streak of events that happened over the course of development. He said that this development process was haunted, and that the PS3. So he cited things like how when the first PS3 unveiling happened, they were supposed to have a video of Lair there,
Right.
But when they did the capture on it, it was too dark, and Kutaragi-san threw it out at the last minute and said, "Oh no, you can't show it there, so we're gonna have to show it later." He cited, and I I'm going to be serious for a moment. I'm not making fun of this, so please don't take it the wrong way. There were apparently some people who passed away in families that worked around Factor 5, which definitely impacted people's ability to do their job.
Right.
And then also even cited, like, apparently there was a failure of power while they were writing the master discs for Lair. I think
so. He's kind of, given that one thing, I mean, he's kind of joking about the, like, oh god,
I don't think
this is like
I don't think he's joking. I think he's become the master apologist for Lair.
No, because
wait. So this explain. So this was before the game came out,
before the game came out, before the reviews had come out, and like The Exorcist is like a famously cursed movie set. Like, I don't think he was trying to defend the game.
It was just an interesting
anecdote.
Yeah.
You know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know because, also he was recently featured on EGM Live, and you were on that, yes?
I was not in the segment with him, no.
Have you listened to it?
I have.
And so he defended the game once again.
I mean, he
against reviewers this time, saying that we're all too hardcore, that the game works great for...
What do you expect? I mean, he's got to do that. I mean...
And at the same time, he says that, okay, so let's get down to nitpicks. He talks about the ability to do like the 180-degree about-face thing. He says, I can do it 8 times out of 10.
Right, I know.
That's a bad quote. That is a bad quote.
It's not a bad quote. It's a bad reality.
Right.
If the reality is that the guy who built the fucking game can't do the about-face all the time, I'm thinking that might be a sign.
I will say, though, like, a lot of people are like talking about Factor 5. They're like looking back, like, oh yeah, maybe it was just the Star Wars license this whole time or whatever. But like, count Factor 5 out at your own peril. Like their talent for using hardware and stuff like that. Like, go back, look at the games they made, look at what the other games that were coming out at those times.
Their sound technology is amazing.
I mean, they know what the fuck they're doing. Like, Lair notwithstanding, and I haven't actually played Lair, but like the consensus on it doesn't sound very good at all. But I'm saying, like, count them out at your own peril. Just because
I agree with you.
Do not say this is John Williams. This is just because of Star Wars, like which a lot of people are saying right now.
No, see, the thing with Lair though is like, I mean, I haven't played like the review, the final build or whatever, but I mean, from what I had played earlier, it was just like there were little things that just bugged the shit out of me, like not knowing where to go and stuff like that.
There were design choices.
If you had like the core is there, and like if you had someone who would like knew how to polish it up, or if they had a little more time, and if they were willing to say like, okay, fuck it, we'll just let people play with the analogs too. If they did that, that game could have gone up like quite a bit.
If they had put analog control and allowed you to choose your missions and not force you down this path, it would have been a different experience.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that.
But it would have fixed some of the problems.
It would have fixed some of the problems. I'll just say this: I agree with Mark that don't count Factor 5 out. Lair is not a solid example of what those guys are capable of.
Hey, I've loved those guys since like the Turrican days, Super Turrican.
Look what they did with the fucking GameCube. Like, these guys came from like hardcore Amiga.
Yeah,
coding.
Exactly. They know how to code.
Tell me if you owned a GameCube, you didn't play the shit out of some Rogue Squadron.
Also, look at the fact that they built those in like 8 months or something. Like games like
if these guys, if they would do a Wii game, and this is not like at all wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't know that they're doing that, but like they could probably fucking tax the shit out of some Wii.
Right.
You know what they need to do is they need to do a not Lord of the Rings game, a not Star Wars game, something that's completely original, and they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Something that they built from whatever inspires them. You know what they need to do is they need to do what inspires them, not what inspires other people. And speaking of inspiring other people, with Dave Carricker, dude, we hardly knew you.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so sad. I instant messaged many people saying just no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Sony's North American head of PR, Mr. Dave Carricker, who we've hardly gotten to know, is headed back to the world of spirits. Mm-hmm. And by spirits, I mean
Sky vodka.
Sky vodka.
Not the spirit realm.
Yeah. Not the spirit realm, not at all. You know what? Patrick Klepek caught up with him and did a little interview with him, and he had some interesting things I think you might find insight into SCEA. One of the questions was, you've been with SCEA for about a year now during the time great change for the company. How has the climate changed over the past year? Carricker this was his most upfront comment, where he said, when I joined Sony, the mood among the media was exceptionally negative. And I suppose a lot of that was our own doing. Interesting. This is the first time that I have really heard anyone, ingoing or outgoing.
If you talk to any of us after Dave went, it was a much more positive experience.
Yeah.
Based on
any
Yeah.
of us, but this is from someone from
Yeah.
Sony talking about how, you know what, we definitely were not doing anything to be our own best friends. And this is important. I'm going to be really curious to see who they replace him with.
Right,
It's going to be an incredibly tough position.
The thing about him, too, like, well, because he also, like, not, like, he was part of the Dreamcast launch, too, I remember back in the day. And then he pretty much left, he left Access, like,
The firm.
Access PR.
Yeah, Access PR, which
handled
did
the
all
Sega.
the Sega PR.
Right.
Like, he left them probably a half year or so, year after, like, the launch of Dreamcast as well. So I wasn't necessarily surprised. Like, it seemed like he was on board at Sony to do this kind of, like, launch effort, but he knew he was going to, like, eventually move on or something. Like,
Well, I mean,
that's what he signed up for, essentially.
I mean, to me, it's like from outside perspective, if you weren't watching the industry, you didn't know the state of Sony PR before and while and after he was there. Like, you might say, like, oh man, yeah, like the PlayStation 3, it had so much like tough times and negative press and whatever, but like, knowing the people involved and stuff like that, like they made the best out of a really tough situation, and that's why it's really sad to see him go, because it
is sad to see him go.
Yeah, he's a really good guy, and they've made so many great changes in terms of being open with the press and stuff like that in Sony PR that they made the best out of a tough situation.
The first time I met Dave Carricker was at Jillian's because he went to the effort, and this is probably coming from the alcohol business, to throw a little press gathering right when he started working for them. And he didn't just come over and shake my hand and like give me the typical blow off, oh, hi, I'm Dave Carricker, blah, blah, blah. He actually stood and talked to me. He actually stood and talked to me and was a real person.
Right. I told him that we're actually going to start up vodka.oneup.com so we can continue to work with him.
Nice.
Vodka.oneup.com would be very good. How about this? What's it going to take to replace Dave? How are they going to do it?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, but he has changed the tone. So I think anybody who steps in there will hopefully
Who could do it?
Continue.
Who could do it? So throw some names out. Who would?
I don't think people care.
Nobody's going to know any names.
It's not my place.
And no one's going to care. But it's just like having the cool thing about Dave was he actually had like a sense of humor and honesty. I think about the job, which you absolutely have to have, because you're going to be getting the kind of crazy shit in broken embargoes and all that kind of fun stuff. If you don't have a sense of humor about it,
but also like humility too. Like that's what he brought to Sony.
Right.
Like they needed that,
Right.
Well, Dave, we wish you absolutely nothing but the best. He said in parting, as long as Sony stays focused on creating great content, they will have no problems whatsoever. He also said that he has no regrets as far as his year here. So I think he came on with the PlayStation Group at a really important time in their history.
Definitely.
And did a really good job at reaching out and rebuilding bridges that were definitely in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely in trouble. Mm-hmm. We don't have any bridges that are in trouble. You know where to catch us. Boards.oneup.com. We've thrown plenty of stuff out there for you guys to mess with and give us hell about. And by the way, I don't want to see any more crap about new PSPs. We get it. I get it.
Maybe you should do your homework a little bit.
I've taken my lumps to heart, so you don't have to give me any more crap about that. I'm sure you'll find something else from this week's episode to give me crap about, though. It's all good. You know where to do it. Boards.oneup.com. Until next week. Actually, next week will be Shane and John with two mystery guests. We don't know because Mark will be in Japan.
That's right.
And I will be in the Great White North. Might be looking at Mass Effect and Assassin's Creed.
A lot of exciting stuff, coming up.
You guys have a lot to look forward to in upcoming weeks. So who do you think you're going to have?
I'm going to get some blockbusting surprise.
Nice.
Guests.
Surprise.
Andrew Fitch does not count as a surprise. you already said it. How can it be a surprise?
He's been working on some new songs.
Oh my God! I can't wait.
I do have Sean Malloy from GFW lined up to produce the show for you. So you guys are in good shape, like engineering side. So you got a lot to look forward to next week. Until then, this is Garnet for Shane and Mark and Sam. We appreciate you guys listening, and we will talk to you next week.